Welcome to the Heretic Channel, folks. My name is Jenova.
And I'm Gene Skinner. Welcome, everyone.
How's everybody doing tonight, Gene? How are you doing?
Doing fine, thank you, Gino. Hope you're doing well as well.
I'm doing very well. It's been, guys, you get a little rambunctious in the Discord, that's for sure. Guys, it was pretty rambunctious over there today. I'm not going to name names. Porky mainly responsible for it. He knows what he did. Porky knows what he did. Medog, Porky, Medog.
Oh, is that a new word we've come up with? Medog. Instead of Yippos.
Yippos is an acronym. But we've changed it. We've gone from Yippos and now it's Medog.
Medog. We've
changed it. Porky was snoring this morning. Porky, did you sleep well? Did you sleep well? Did you get yourself 2 hours of sleep before you had to go to work for 7 hours? I'm sure it was great. We tried to wake you up, Porky, but to no avail.
It happens.
It does happen. It happens a lot. To Porky.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Taco might have fallen asleep once or twice in VC, but he's never snored.
No.
Porky goes out and it is
sweets in all caps. He didn't tell me he had to work.
You son of a bitch, Porky. You know you need to tell Sweets. Thick dead air. That's right, Goshen. Thick. 2 whole hours? What are you, gay? So Zach? We did. We screamed into the mic a lot. Zach's got a point, though. What are you, gay, Porky? All right. It's a behind the lot tonight, folks. You know what that means. You probably don't. But me and Gene know what it means.
Yeah. It's just pretty much a clip show tonight. Pretty easy going. We're just going to cover the action movie genre.
Pretty much a clip show. We're going to talk about some action movies. I'm sure you guys will bring up some of your own action movies. It's a free flow.
Yep.
We've got videos. We can chat. We can talk. We can do whatever the fuck we want to do.
I can do anything. Suck my dick.
Anything.
Remember the DMX cover of that song?
Suck my dick.
Yeah.
DMX is fantastic. X gonna give it to you. Andrea, you get out. Charlie's Angels is best action movie. The new one. The new one, Andrea. Are you kidding? I can't condone raping him if he's gay. That makes the rapist gay too. That's true, Zach. And we don't want anybody to be forced into being gay.
No, that's awful.
It's awful.
But anyway, we've got quite the selection of clips to show you guys tonight. I have the one to start with for us. We are going to watch some Dirty Harry. Go ahead. You have to click it for me since I can't.
Okay, I got you.
Thank you.
All right, here we go. Every shot fired by Dirty Harry Callahan in chronological order.
Yep. Garth Williams presents this, by the way. Shooting Dirty Harry.
Andrea also thinks Ghostbusters 2016 is best Ghostbusters. Andrea.
Cancel.
Andrea, it's just been betrayal after betrayal from you all day.
That he is.
I know what you're thinking.
The best goddamn cop ever.
Only 5. Well, to tell you the truth, in all this excitement, I've kind of lost track of my
I mean, it's 16 minutes long, Eric. So is this from every movie, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You've got to ask yourself one question: do I feel lucky?
Well, do you, punk?
Do you, punk?
Andrea, we're gonna have to have a talk later.
That is Albert Popwell. He is in 4 of all the 5 Dirty Harry movies too.
And he's friends with what's his name?
Eastwood, yes, he is.
Yeah, yeah. Eastwood brings him around and to have him fuck his wife every now and then.
Waiting. For what? Waiting for all you white hunkies to blow each other up so we can move right on in.
I identify with that remark. That's what we're all waiting for. Do it. Oh, put one right through him.
He's not a bad guy in that one, though.
Beast Hunter. How's it going? How's everybody doing tonight? I hope everybody's having a great night or day, wherever the fuck you are.
I got to know.
He gots to know. Well, they better hurry up because we gonna get effed.
Boom!
Halt!
This is like a full montage, so this is on YouTube, so I'm surprised it hasn't been taken down with all the Dirty Harry stuff that's in it.
Like, usually a montage will work if the clips are in are within a respectable time.
Yep.
But like once it goes past like the 30-second mark, that's when the fucking bot starts to fucking lose its shit.
It does, you're right. Here we go. There's the Zodiac Killer, Andrew Robinson himself. But Zodiac can be Scorpio, but you know, Dirty Hippie is what he really is.
It's based on the Zodiac. Well, based on it just because that's what was happening around that time. Oh man, look at all those bullet holes.
And yes, it is clipping stuff from other movies. That's how this montage kind of works too, with all the other stuff you see being fired as well. From different movies, of course. It kind of just fits to the scene with how it's edited together.
Let's see the gun.
True story. Dirty Harry took down the Zodiac Killer. That's right, Strong. That happened.
You hear that snare drum thing? But that's a big one.
Put your nose right up against the cement.
You think the Zodiac Killer was a cop, Eric?
I mean, it is San Francisco.
I mean, there is a lot of evidence that points to that fact, for sure.
Stab.
See, he probably got this taken down at some point because he put it back up and he sped up that scene.
Boom!
No scope 360 Goshen. Headshot! Boom! Headshot! Only person better with a 44 is City Hunter.
Boom!
He had to shoot the kid. Shot right through that kid's face to get to the Zodiac.
I know what you're thinking, punk.
Yeah, what you thinking,
You're thinking, did he fire 6 shots or only 5? Now, to tell you the truth, I forgot myself in all this excitement.
Forgot myself.
Being this is a 44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world, and will blow your head clean off.
There we go.
You've got to ask yourself a question.
Do I feel lucky?
You think a journalist wrote the letters, Zach? It's not a bad theory.
Do you, punk?
I've heard a theory that it was actually Tex Watson from the Manson family that was doing some of them.
He paid a
There's
black
some
guy
good
to do this.
documentaries.
So it looked like Callahan beat him up. Boom, dead.
Boom. Do you feel lucky?
This is a 44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world.
That was before the 357 came out.
Yeah, there's other ones too that are higher caliber than the Magnum at the time as well.
Excuse me, Captain. I know this may sound silly, but
Can you fly? Nope.
Never had a lesson.
Sit down.
Best pilot in the world.
Here he is with the other cops that are crooked. Boom. That cop you heard say police actually goes into the store and gets fucking shot right in the chest without wearing a bulletproof vest, so he's dead like instantly.
Dead.
Harry, he edged you by 4 points. That evens it up on the overall champion. You have your choice in the shootout. Bullseye or combat.
Combat.
Of course.
Boom. Yep, had to speed that up.
Oh, I put it right through that guy's cheek and chin.
Right through the face.
That last one was a good guy.
Yes, that last one was a good guy.
Or was it?
There's
He's a big guy out there.
He did, Zach. He did, didn't he?
Look, Italiano's a Jenova.
And I'd appreciate if you eased up off my back about it. Right, Zach?
Man's got to know his limitations.
Is that a Geico truck?
Possibly. Boom. Oh, right in the dick.
Yes, Andrea, that's Clint Eastwood.
This fucking guy rocked the tower.
Gosh, so mean. Do Dirty Harry movies? Do Dirty Harry movies have the angry police chief?
Yes. Every single one of them has an angry
Every day
police
for the last
chief
10
in it.
years, Loretta there has been giving me a large black
These
coffee.
movies were
Today she gives me
they're
a
of your
large black
childhood,
coffee, only it's got
Beast
sugar.
Hunter.
Mine too.
They're yeah, they're some of the movies I grew up with. Some of the first like cop movies I'd ever seen was Dirty Harry.
Who's we, sucker?
How many movies are
We're
there?
not just gonna
5.
let you walk out of here.
5.
Who's we, sucker?
Jim Carrey does pop up in one
Yes,
of them.
and the Deadpool, he pops up.
Does he get killed?
He does get killed. He gets forced to swallow pills and inject heroin.
Just like real life.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean, that's what he did to his girlfriend.
Yeah. Probably where he got the idea from. Go
Nobody
ahead.
will ever know.
Make my day.
Go ahead. Make my day.
So this fucking car has bulletproof glass on it.
No, you better run.
They all think he's in there and emptied all their clips. So they're all dead now. Dumb
This is the
monsters.
44
One
Magnum
bullet
automatic,
for each.
Yep.
and holds a 300 grain cartridge. And
That's
if
the auto
properly
mag.
used, it can remove the fingerprints.
Showing off the horrors here.
6 if you count Gran Torino, which you do, Zach.
It's kind of a Dirty Harry character, but it's not him, though. Because he mentions being basically an army retiree. And so much as what's known for Clint's character, he was never in the army. Meathead.
Looks like I owe
That's
you
the kind
one,
of dog I want. I want an English bulldog. Bow, bow, bow. So funky soundtrack. Bow, 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 bow.
Clint Eastwood's wife is also in this movie. One of his wives, he said many.
Coming in 2022, Dirty Harry, starring Lupita Nyong'o as Harry. If they would do something like that, Andrea.
Make my day.
That's not a bad idea, is it?
Ah!
Shoot him one more time, Clint.
Just one-handing it. Boom, boom.
This guy's a rapist. Death is him getting impaled by a unicorn, so it's kind of fitting.
Would someone please ban Genuine already? You know what you did, Kami.
This guy's failing to load his automatic. He runs away. Nah.
He ain't got it. Nope. Get him. Yup. Hands up, don't shoot.
Come on, you guys, hurry up!
You forgot your fortune cookie.
What?
It's
What?
Yep, your fortune cookie.
Is there a Turkish version of
It
Dirty
says-
Harry, Eric?
You're shit out of
Shit
luck.
out of luck.
Boom!
I wish, I hope there's a Turkish version, Eric. I bet it's fucking amazing. Like all Turkish ripoffs are.
Yeah. Liam Neeson's also in this movie too. This is actually one of his first movies.
Oh yeah, does he walk around trying to find black men to beat up?
No. He is a film director though in the movie.
You're next.
The game's over!
You're out of bullets.
You're out of bullets.
Splicing of the man with no name. From the past to the present in that scene.
Oh my god.
Yep,
is
a
that
harpoon gun.
Oh
Yep.
my god.
Yep, that's your shit out of luck.
It's so big.
Takes his own gun back.
I forgot about the fucking harpoon gun.
You know what the last line he says in that movie is? He's hanging out back there.
He's done. I'm retired now.
Yep, that's how it ends in the original Dirty Harry.
I've cleaned up the streets. And I'm gonna go home and fuck my wife.
Or his various other wives.
Or my various other wives. I've got the pick of the litter.
Alright, that was the Dirty Harry montage. I hope we enjoyed that.
Alright. Chico. Alright, well, let's watch...
Chico Gonzalez is the name of his partner in the original movie.
Chico Gonzalez.
Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Dr. Shadow. Beautiful personality dress hair. And I've said that line so many times, it's almost downright robotic.
Decker is going to talk about RoboCop.
What a
a
segue.
movie that
Today we're going to
I
be
think
looking
we
at the
all
1987
love.
classic
It's
RoboCop, the first American film directed by Paul Verhoeven, as long as you don't count the fact that Flesh Plus Blood came out in U.S. theaters 2 years earlier. RoboCop is set in the not-too-distant future, where crime in Detroit is getting out of hand. And it's the 80s, so naturally the solution involves robots, cybernetics, and enough
Sweetsy said,
gore
"Hi,
to get
I'm
this movie
Decker
an X
Shadow,
rating.
and I'm
Before
the internet
several
personality
reshoots
with the
brought it
best
down
hair."
to a modest
Yep.
R. Of course, it's the unrated version we'll be looking at today. Either way, the plot's the same. Big company has big plans for rebuilding Detroit into the shining
Big
jewel
company.
of Delta City.
That's
But
Miguel Cera,
darn
by
it,
the
the
way.
gangs run the place. So
Ray Wise's in
let's
this
build
movie,
a
too.
half-man, half-machine, all-police
He is.
super cop to wipe the scum from the city. What could go wrong? I mean, unless he does his job too well and your entire company
RoboCop
happens
is
to be
so
staffed by
fucking
corrupt
good.
assholes, but
It
I'm
is.
getting ahead of
I
myself.
love
Let's take a look
RoboCop,
at RoboCop
and everything
get into
else
the nitty-gritty
is
details.
so shit.
Opening
Yeah.
up to the Detroit skyline
You mean
to
after the
hopefully
first
distract you from the
RoboCop?
fact that the movie was filmed mostly in
Yeah,
Dallas,
no,
Texas.
yeah,
We
yeah,
acknowledge,
after the-
yes, you're
every
watching
other
the right
RoboCop
movie,
is just
and then change
like
to some TV
2
footage to
and
help build the
3
setting.
have, like,
The
their
news is nothing
shock
too surprising.
value to
Unrest
it.
coupled with the threat of nuclear war, and of
But
course the
after you
Space Force
see
is
the
up
first
and running, albeit
RoboCop,
not
like,
without its problems.
it's just
Power
it's
failed,
not the
causing
same.
a brief but
Yeah.
harmless period of weightlessness for the visiting president and his staff.
I can accept the French nukes and orbital peace satellite for obvious reasons, but I still have no idea how the hell artificial gravity is supposed to work. I mean, outside of a spaceship just spinning, but I really don't think a power
can't
outage
hear
would
us,
stop that, would
Sweets?
it? Back in Believability Land,
That's
buy
weird.
yourself a new heart today. Also, the news starts to get a little more heavy-handed and starts setting up the plot, citing
Turn it down
rampant
slightly.
crime and the police being
There you go,
recently
that should be
acquired
good.
by a private company, OCP, and the division is being led by Dick Jones, played by Ronnie
I'm
Cox.
down with OCP.
Also, on the
Yeah,
topic
you
of bad
know
guys,
me.
we have the local crime lord Clarence Boddicker, played by Kurtwood Smith.
Kurtwood
Red.
Smith,
He's
yep.
at large, while doctors at Henry Ford Memorial
Also, I turned
Clarence
my own
Boddicker
computer
was
fight
volume.
to save the life of
Clarence
Officer
Boddicker
Frank
was a
Frederickson.
badass.
Good luck, Frank.
Jeez, man, why don't you just lean into the camera
It's still
like,
funny that he's
you know,
balding, though.
It would be a real shame if Frankie Boy died, wouldn't it? Now that we're done being introduced to the world and major players via television programming, it's time to get to the real world of the movie and introduce characters we really want to see, such as our new transfer in this precinct, Alex Murphy, played by Peter Weller.
Be
Peter
safe,
Weller.
Freddy.
Transferring in from Metro South.
Nice precinct.
Is he gonna go fight a rat?
Yeah, pretty good.
You work for a living
Red
down here,
Jenova?
Murphy.
And Sergeant Reed, played by
What?
Robert
Oh, yeah.
Dupuy, your classic angry
Of
higher up
unknown
at the police
origin.
station. But not the so angry he gets in the hero cop's way thing. The job is just hell. Not saying he's a happy, chipper symbol of hope and justice, because as everyone gets ready for the day ahead of them, talking about the poor work conditions and thinking of a possible strike,
That's me.
he shows
Yeah,
up and
I was
shuts
gonna
everyone
say
up real
that.
quick with some bad news.
Oh, Buckaroo Banzai.
Funeral's tomorrow.
Is a great movie.
God damn,
Sweets.
everything's faster in the future. The man's barely lost his heartbeat and they've already dug the grave. He also quickly shoots down the idea of a strike, pointing out that they aren't factory workers, but upholders of the law. They must hold themselves to higher standards. Even if the hours are hell, the work is dangerous, and oh yeah, OCP runs the place now and sees the police as a for-profit venture. More importantly than any of that, though, a man is breaking free in the lobby. Not to worry, it's just a means to introduce Murphy's partner, Ann Lewis, played by Nancy Allen.
I better drive until you know your way around.
Isn't she his love interest, too?
I usually drive when I'm breaking in on your partner.
No, he's
And
still with
establishing
his
first and
like
foremost,
he
no
still
matter how
loves
much
his wife
ass
and
she
shit.
kicks,
Okay.
he is still the badass one here.
I think even in like the sequels, there's never really a love interest thing there.
Okay.
Come to think of it, maybe it would still be better if she drove. They aren't the only ones getting to work this morning, of course. There's Omni Consumer Products, where our old friend Dan O'Harely isn't slaughtering countless children as Cochrane anymore, but as the chairman of this company who, as far as I can find, is simply called the Old Man. He wants to rebuild the shittier parts of Detroit into the shining jewel of Delta City, but the problem with that is, of course, the areas are, as said, very shitty. Crime is rampant, and that must be stomped out first. Not to worry, Dick has just the thing to do some stomping.
This
Dick.
fucking thing.
Ed 209.
I love Ed 209.
Good stop motion too.
Yeah, it's actually really good.
Stop motion animation. Makes it easier to sell the toys when that's just about what you're using for the film anyway. Having a
Look at this
giant
weak,
walking,
pathetic
talking
woman.
robot
After all,
guns
no
isn't
strong
impressive
women
at all,
before
but it's
2016.
actually a
Good
fully
point,
automated
Tatsuya.
police bot, like a Roomba that deep cleans scum out of the city with cannons. Of course, in order to show off just how good a job it does, Dick selects a lucky board member
Nice to
to
see Detroit
volunteer
hasn't
and
changed.
play the role of bad guy.
If anything, it's gotten worse.
You have 20 seconds to
Put down the weapon.
And that is exactly why you don't want to have your hands registered as lethal
Send out
weapons.
the Ed 209s to Detroit.
You now have 15 seconds to comply.
Whoops! Looks like Ed 209 was programmed by the same team responsible for YouTube's Content ID bot.
Ooh, good
That,
shot.
coupled with the fact that for some reason this demo was set up without an easily accessed kill
Got
switch,
him.
just in case, isn't even the biggest fuck up here.
So good. Good effects.
Yeah, just so happen to load the thing with
That's what you
goddamn
get
live
for not
ammunition, because
complying.
if you're not sure if your shit's gonna work right in the first place, you may as well put people's lives at risk to find out.
Yeah, that's a
Jesus
little
Christ,
dumb.
this really was programmed by Google, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Also, this is one of those scenes enhanced by the director's cut, as
Yep.
it goes on a bit longer and a little more detailed than the theatrical version, which helps this line land all the better.
Somebody want to call a goddamn paramedic?
I'm
No.
not sure how useful a paramedic would be, but at the very least, it's more polite than calling the janitor.
Or
Nick's not
coroner.
the only one assuming things will work out better than they did, though. The old man already scheduled plans to build Delta City in but 6 months. With the Ed 209 problems, the delays could be rather costly. However, a young up-and-comer, Bob Morton, played by Miguel Ferrer, says they could avoid
So
the
Miguel
delay
Ferrer,
if instead of
Miguel
waiting for
Ferrer.
Ed 209 to be ready, they divert resources to finish the
was wrong.
RoboCop
Yeah, I
program,
believe
which is already very
Miguel
far along in
Ferrer is
development.
dead now.
Yeah, he
I'm
is.
confident we can go to
I think
prototype
he
within
died
90
from
days.
cancer, maybe?
How the hell
believe so,
one
yeah.
prototype RoboCop can clean up the whole city in that time frame? I don't know, but
I liked him in
whatever.
Twin
We
Peaks
need
as
a
Albert,
cyborg
but
cop where this
then I
movie's
realized
plot really
he's
just
like
doesn't work.
really stupid
Obviously,
lefty in
Dick
real life,
is a little
so I'm
sore
kinda
about this turn of
not
events,
sad that he's
but he's
dead.
not nearly the one who's having a bad day
Yeah.
today. While Murphy is off with his partner,
Eric, I think
playing
he
with his gun,
died,
they get a call about an armed and dangerous man in a
maybe
getaway.
like
This
5
just so
years
happens to be
ago,
Clarence
maybe?
Barker,
Or the last couple
master
years?
criminal
I think
extraordinaire.
it was
By
2016.
reputation anyway, as
It's
enticing
fairly
as it was,
recently,
they
yeah.
burned up their score with the breaching charge. Oh well. While they have the badass hero cop
There
on
was-
their
there
tail,
was,
may as well take
Ray
the fight
Wise.
all the way
Yep.
down to everyone's favorite
2 people from
location
Twin
where
Peaks are in
nothing
this
ever
fucking
goes
movie.
wrong. The abandoned
2017
factory
actually
district.
is when he
It
died.
seems backup is taking
Oh, wow,
more
a
fucking
lot sooner
ever
than I
actually
thought.
show up and help these two, but
Or a lot
no bother.
earlier than
They
that.
can split up and take on this gang their damn selves. First up is Lewis, who must apprehend the Free Willy himself, Jesse Goins, who plays the aptly named Joe Cox.
Mind if I zip this up?
Shoot him in the dick.
Stupid bitch.
The poor police
And
positively
then he goes,
packed up
and then he
by
goes,
the power of this. Ah, well, just gives Murphy an even better chance to
Yep.
be a total badass.
He's got a
as he
fucking
holds up
crazy
2
laugh,
goons,
that guy.
blows one the fuck away, and is still ultra cool about it.
Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
Sandra Locke
Though,
died
honestly, I
recently,
would prefer
too?
alive
Fuck.
because it's rush hour, and I'd rather not have to smell your corpse in the back of my car in a traffic jam. Unfortunately for Murphy, Emil Atanowski, played by Paul McCrane, won't be quite so easy
He
to
gets
apprehend
melted
as,
later on
of
in the
course,
movie.
he only shot one of the accomplices, not the other handful who have just surrounded him.
Your ass is mine.
No!
It's
Your ass is
mine.
mine.
Not yet, it ain't.
My name's Red
And
Foreman.
I know this movie predates that 70s show by like a decade, but is it wrong that I just keep seeing this as Red Foreman's wildlife before
Everybody
he decided
sees
to
it as
settle
Red
down?
Foreman,
guess
but
it
I
just
think
feels
Clarence
like the newsreel and him
Boddicker
obviously
or
leading this group
Kurtwood
of criminals
Smith plays
still
a
isn't quite
fantastic
enough to
bad
hammer
guy.
home
Yeah.
the point that yes, he is
And I mean,
the
he's
bad
kind
guy.
of like a
Taunting, beating, and
curmudgeon in
torturing Murphy could do
70s
the
show,
Mm-hmm.
but he's so good at a bad guy. I hate him in this movie.
Oh, his hand.
Well, give the man a hand.
And yeah, in case you didn't notice, this is also a scene that's a teensy bit more graphic in the director's cut. As the whole group here shoots the
There's a lot of,
shit out of Murphy, blowing
Christ-like
his whole fucking
imagery,
arm off
too.
while putting more
Yeah, with
holes in the
RoboCop and
man's
all that stuff,
sport
Yeah,
box
there's
weapons.
this movie has a very like
Religious
Jesus.
theme, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Clarence, he's still alive.
Oh, good. Then he can just hide behind a box for a few seconds, regrow his arm, and kick all the...
Oh.
Okay, let's get out of here.
Oh, how many seconds does his partner have to revive him?
It's a tough shot,
Of course,
man.
this is an 80s movie, so that's not how it works back then. If Murphy wants to continue, he's going to have to insert some coinage. With that in mind, he is rushed to
He
a
plays a
hospital
great
in,
fucking bad guy beast.
would you call this critical condition? Personally, I think it's best described as stable. Dead, but he
Just
ain't
give me
bouncing
my
back anytime
fucking
soon.
phone call.
However...
Here we go.
Suddenly, after being declared dead, his vision returns, now a camera feed. It's a little unorthodox, but he can bring those dastardly deviants to justice.
Can you understand what I'm saying?
Doesn't matter. We're gonna blank his memory anyway.
Or they can ignore the value of having a highly trained
did, Jenny.
super cop
He got shot in
turn
the
into
head.
their cyborg soldier and just wipe his brain so they have a heavily armed toddler on their hands.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
dumb.
what harm is a little amnesia anyway?
You should just give him
Aside
his
from
memory.
risking
I think he
making
keeps it
even
anyways,
more
doesn't he?
obvious that the backstory world and lest we forget
It
character
sort of
design
like
of
works
RoboCop
its
is
way
more
back
than a
in.
little inspired by the classic Japanese cyborg police
I think he
officer Ape-Man.
like he.
They do take their time revealing the character,
it's
though,
weird.
showing him only from TV screens or through refracting glass and from the back, before we finally see the full damn thing. Though, even though he's in the station,
Replaced
it
by
looks
a
like they're still
computer,
just making
man.
sure it works.
What are your prime directives?
Serve the public trust, protect the innocent, uphold the law.
Based loosely on the 3 laws of robotics. Very loosely.
Yeah.
He's a robot, and he's got 3 laws.
Huh? Huh?
Directed for classified.
Never mind, he's got 3 laws and a plot twist.
Yeah, Rock. His memory
That's
comes
good enough
back
to get him signed up to
slowly.
the force.
Like they
The
try to
precinct
get
where
rid of
Murphy
it,
was already
but
working at before he died.
It doesn't really work that way.
He had,
That's not how
what,
the
Yeah.
human body
one day
works.
on duty. It's not like anyone's going to recognize him.
objective
What are they gonna do,
for
replace
classified.
Gun spinning.
Except, of course, for his old partner Lewis, noticing him doing that very specific
Yeah,
spinning
Zach, the,
gun motion that they spent so
practical
much time
effects and
establishing
special
earlier.
effects are done really
Though
well
I
in
gotta
this
hand it to
movie.
her, with Murphy's corpse walking in there that obviously, I'd complain if she didn't notice. No reason to slow down now. He's the new badass on the force, and it's time for his first tour of duty. Now cybernetically enhanced. Still haven't quite ironed out all the bugs, though. To be fair, obviously RoboCop does perform better on the job than Ed 209. As a store is being robbed at gunpoint, it's less than a minute before the press of the silent alarm and the arrival of the much more noticeable police response. The situation is handled very quickly as
Me
RoboCop
too,
is
Eric.
bulletproof, super strong, and the robber isn't.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.
I'll buy that for $1.
I'll buy that for $1.
Now, I do still wonder what it would have looked like if Ed 209 was dispatched in Detroit to take care of crime. Probably the intro sequence of Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Continuing on his crime-fighting spree, RoboCop thwarts an attempted rape by blowing the bastard's balls to bits ballistically, before defusing a hostage situation by
deserves
going
a shot
Kool-Aid
just for
Man
that
on the
fucking
motherfucker, then
jacket
seeing
he
it
had
make it
on.
fly. This makes him the perfect role model for all the little
Your favorite
types who
movie
one
of all
day
time,
dream of growing up
Tatsuya?
to
It's a fantastic
die
movie to have
and
as
be
your
put back
favorite movie
together
of
for
all
some
time.
cyborg
It's
justice.
a damn good choice.
Any special message for all the kids watching at home?
Stay out of trouble.
Jeez, he pretty much just told all the children to see, don't
Not
fuck
stay
with
in
me.
school or
All
anything
this
like that.
good
Just
work and the
stay out of
projected end
trouble.
crime in
I'll
Elva
fuck
Train
you
in
up.
just over a month has shot Bobby here all the way up to vice president of OCP. This rubs Dick the wrong way, what with how salty he is that Morton went over his head, and got
Bob
such
Morton
a
made
huge
a
promotion to
mistake.
boot.
I had to erase that mistake.
Fucked with the wrong guy. You got your fucking mind.
I guess it's not just me, right? Who else thought they were going to start making out right there? But hey, Bob's safe, so long as RoboCop doesn't glitch out on them. Right on cue, it turns out the memory wipe wasn't as thorough as they thought, and the robot dreams of his horrible, painful, and overly dramatic death.
That's a
Not
good
to mention,
line,
as
Eric.
he's marching out of there, Lewis
Bitches
stops him to
leave.
fuck up his subroutines even more.
Don't you have a name?
Hold, just sign right here. You don't understand, I'm OCD.
Murphy. It's you.
Yeah, see, look, she starts
but
fucking with
RoboCop
him
is
and
far
shit.
cooler. Who the hell would go out to watch a sci-fi action movie called Murphy? If you're gonna drop hints, though,
Oh,
why
he's
stop at
Irish
one
and
or
a
two?
cop,
Why
and
not
his name
have
is
everyone
Murphy.
come out of the
Oh,
woodwork to tell
fucking
him
of
who he used to
course.
be? On that note, our old friend Emil is robbing a gas station, which our super cop notices right away and moves in to apprehend the fuck out
Strong,
of it.
that's a good one, too. We
Dead or
killed
alive,
you.
you are
You're
coming
dead.
with
We
me.
killed you.
Yep, he's like, yeah, here it is.
I know you.
Well, shit, at this point, why not throw in a scene where he walks past a psychic medium panhandler to drop a few more hints about as subtle as a fire in the sky physical? He does scream, "We killed you," several times, and RoboCop does get confused, but that just means we can get awesome explosions and gunfire and motorcycles, none of which RoboCop cares about. He's heard enough. He wants answers.
You don't give a fuck.
Are you?
We
God
have a
damn,
lead.
this movie is
now
so
I need
good.
to find
It
out
is.
who works for. RoboCop doesn't care we're only halfway through the movie. He wants answers, and he wants them now. So utilizing the handy-dandy
RoboCop
police
doesn't
database,
care we're only
he
halfway
finds,
through the movie.
Finds out he works for Red. And, of course, the file about a little man named Murphy and his highly recognizable jawline. More importantly, Murphy had a family who has since moved the fuck away, leaving only clutter and flashbacks behind.
Hey, have you thought it all over? Why not make me an offer?
Not now. Busy
Hey,
doing
have
the
you thought it
agitated
over?
robot.
Why not
Now
make
he's gonna
me
do
an
the
offer?
robot might as well be in a club
Ray
where
Wise.
he finds another one of his killers. However, as RoboCop is taking care of business, it seems Bobby Boy is getting a
Really,
visit
really,
from
like,
Clarence
young
of
Ray
all
Wise.
people.
Yeah, it is.
God damn it!
Yeah, they unleash him on him so he
I'm a
would
bad
kill him.
guy. It's what I do. Why has he shown up out of the blue, though? Well, it turns out, dun dun dun,
Yeah.
Clarence has been working for Dick all along. And the man's really, really not happy with Bob's behavior as of late.
That's
Mainly
true,
the part
Jenny.
where he got Dick's Ed 209 program put on the back burner. Not to worry,
I
because
can't remember.
Mr. Jones
Does anybody
has his own
remember
solution for
the
this
year this was
embarrassing
supposed to
turn of
take place in?
I think, like...
It's gonna be an interesting board
It's
meeting
probably like
tomorrow.
2000s.
Last night,
Let me see.
our vice president just blew the fuck up. Would you look at that? Oh, well, Dick, you can get your Ed 209 program back in business. I can't imagine who could have done it. First, though, RoboCop has to get back to tracking down the man that killed him.
Dystopian
As in the last
future.
bullet to his head. Guess
The
all that model
mid-90s?
mutilation didn't bother him as much. After busting into a drug lab where Clarence was working on a deal, he swiftly identifies the
time period.
gangsters through the magical future technology of VATS.
2043 and
gives them an
2044.
ultimatum.
Come quietly, or there will
2043?
be
Yep.
trouble.
This takes place in the 2043.
Yes.
Ah, fuck you.
You'd think after 3 weeks of this invincible super cop going around killing the
Is
shit out of
RoboCop
countless
based on
criminals,
Judge
many of them
Dredd?
part of their gang, they'd have got the message by now. But learning
I don't
would
know.
mean we'd be robbed of
That's
an
a good
awesome
question.
action
It's
scene,
not-
showing
it's
RoboCop
not-
That's one of
carrying
the
through
questions that
drug
came up.
lab,
Since even Carl
killing
Urban,
bad
who
guys
plays
left
Judge
and
Dredd,
right,
admits that the
until
film
it's
has a
just
lot
down
of
to
RoboCop
him
references because
and
RoboCop was obviously
Clarence.
inspired by
You have the
Dredd.
right to remain silent.
I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. It certainly makes sense.
That's why you really shouldn't be so quick to give up your rights. Of course, beating a man within an inch of his life while reading them their rights would probably mean he'd be able to go scot-free, but Clarence does one better. He reveals to RoboCop that he, in fact, has been working for Dick all along. As OCP runs the police, that means that Clarence here is higher on the food chain than RoboCop. He's taken in anyway for all the good that will do in the city. Point is, now RoboCop knows that Dick Jones is in fact connected with this criminal empire, and thus he confronts the man, who seems strangely okay with this.
You better take me in.
I will.
Yep, that's the
Yes,
fourth
it
one.
looks like Murphy's favorite
I
song
will.
just came on the radio and he had to do the RoboCop again.
RoboCop. Who is he? RoboCop. What is he? RoboCop. RoboCop. Where does he come from?
But you remember that secret twist fourth Prime Directive? Well, it's time to reveal that RoboCop is programmed to shut down if he attempts to arrest senior staff at OCP. Why that translates to interpretive dance, I don't know, but Dick knows what to do about it.
Uh-oh.
I had to kill Bob Morton because he made a mistake. Now it's time to erase that mistake.
Yep.
I thought it was because he upstaged you, but whatever. The day keeps getting worse for RoboCop, as Ed 209 is the first foe he's faced with, who is packing enough heat to do legitimate damage to the guy. Not to worry, he does eventually get away, and even runs into the entire fucking police force.
Prepare to fire. Hey, wait a second! The cop, for God's sake!
Hey, stop, you can't do that!
We have orders to destroy it!
I know he's in a bad spot, but I still don't really see this as that much of a threat to the guy. Yeah, he's beat up, but it didn't make his chassis any softer. The regular guns still
I
aren't
remember
doing
that
shit to him.
strug.
Or they are, because
I'll
it's
shove the
supposed to be a
this
tense, frightening
factory
scene
so
as
far
RoboCop
up
tries
your
desperately
wop
to
ass
escape.
you'll
Those
shit snow
damn
for a
38
week.
specials. Lewis, of course, is still on Murphy's side and swoops in to save the day.
RoboCop is more based on Rogue Trooper and Dredd. Yeah, Rogue Trooper, that's true too.
RoboCop didn't work out, Ed 209 was buggy as hell, and I guess now they're just moving on to the goddamn sexual Tyrannosaurus. Or, this is another one of Verhoeven's trademark television parodies.
Yep.
Claymation Cretaceous creatures conferring cars to consumers.
He does that a lot in
segue over to a news program
Starship
to point out
Troopers
that the police
too.
strike that was talked about earlier, well, it's finally happening. Conditions are so bad, most of the police force says, fuck it, they don't get paid enough for this shit. Might make it hard to clean up the streets, but then again, Dick here has his own aspirations. Sure, they'll clear crime out to make room for Delta City, but that just means they'll have oh so many workers
nice
living
suit.
in trailers to build it for oh so long.
That means drugs, gambling, prostitution. Virgin territory for the man who knows how to open up new markets.
So he's been working with Clarence to spread crime as an excuse to make a program to stop crime so that they can build
That's
a
a
new
little
place and spread crime. God damn, it's like trying to make sense of a Grand Theft Auto storyline. Well, while they figure it out, Murphy and Lewis are hiding out in that abandoned factory from before. Happy memories there. If anything, there's no better place to finally unmask Mr. Roboto and see just what is left of the man he used to be.
It's so fucking weird, dude.
Yeah.
It's really good to see you again, Murphy.
It's a really good
That's still
effect.
some very impressive makeup work. Yeah, you might be able to make it look more realistic with
Not necessarily like
CGI,
parody commercials, Zach,
I
but they
still
were
think
like
the makeup is more
propaganda
impressive. It's not
commercials
taking the
and
easy
shit
way
that
out.
you'd see on the
But he's
TV
all
if you were
sad about
a
this,
citizen
or
in that
about his
world.
family assuming he's dead and having moved away long ago. A bigger problem is the fact that the bad guys are coming for him, now equipped with their
So
own
would you think that
anti-RoboCop
the
weapons.
Starship Trooper
Simple
and
enough, throw a
RoboCop
scope on a
universe in the
Barrett 50
same
cal and act like
universe,
somehow the
same
thing
world
has no
almost?
kick, and boom, you've got yourself an assault cannon.
It's
However, they
possible.
still
I'd have
contend with
to.
RoboCop, who is
I could
improving
see
with
it.
the power of targeting
I can't
assist.
remember
As in
the
Lewis assisting
year
him and
that
stopping
like
him from
Starship
shooting like a
Troopers
sprinkler
takes
system with
place though.
Parkinson's. That means when the bad
Because
guys
I think
show up,
Starship
using RoboCop's
Troopers
own
takes
tracking
place in
system
like
to
the
locate him,
2000s,
they still
doesn't
somehow
it?
don't know exactly where he is, and he gets the drop on them just the same.
Looking for me?
I'm sorry, Zach. I'm doing a few things.
And with the death of one of the bad guys in the group, we can say officially the climactic battle is underway.
The
Which is
23rd
much like the rest of the
century.
movie. Fun, explosive, and not afraid to do some weird shit on occasion.
Okay,
like
so
when our
that's
old pal
like
Emil winds up slamming headfirst into a vat of toxic waste.
2400
I think so.
or the 2300, right?
Also, mutated.
Okay,
Yeah,
so do I make a
so
reference to
I guess they could
Avenger,
definitely
the
take
Incredible
place in
Melting
the same
Man,
universe.
or feral ghouls. Not gonna matter for much longer anyway, as soon enough he ends up all over the windshield. That winds up blinding our bad guy, who then finds himself in a ditch, just waiting to be arrested by the first officer to come down there.
That's what cancer looks like.
Yeah.
Hot damn,
Sweets,
even the plot
you
armor is
really
failing,
do
because
need
it
to
is time
see
for the big
Starship
showdown,
Troopers.
which
I
means
can't believe
RoboCop
you've never
shows
seen
up,
the movie.
ready to take Clarence in. However, he's not the only bad guy to worry about. One remains far in the back, working the crane sneakily and stealthily to
Very
crush
wise.
RoboCop under the weight of tons of scrap.
I got him, Clarence! I got him!
Boom.
Woo! Guess I don't have to worry about his Christmas bonus. Well, he didn't even do that good of a job anyway. RoboCop is still alive, and Clarence goes forth to impale the cyborg and finish him off for good.
Sayonara, RoboCop!
Oh.
Right in the neck. Right in the fucking neck.
Oof, another shot that is a lot more detailed and bloody than the theatrical cut. I wonder why theaters hate good
I don't know,
movies so
Sweets.
much.
it's probably
With
worse
Clarence
than
dead
never
and the two
having
police officers
seen
somehow
Jurassic
not,
Park.
There's just one thing left to do.
Life, you know, finds
Face
a
off
way.
against that evil dick and
Especially
have
if
him
you rape
pay
people
for his
'cause they're
crimes.
rich.
So long as we can get past the guard Ed 209
Yes.
at least.
What is Ebert
Yeah,
doing
Dick, I really
reviewing
don't
a
think
novel?
It's Bob's fault that the program got
no.
scrapped. Those things really don't do that good of a job. Now it's really time for the real, true, and final confrontation.
It's
RoboCop
worse than
interrupts Dick's
snoring
meeting to
in
accuse the man
VC.
of murder. But of course he knows he can't arrest him. However, that doesn't mean he can't show what proof he has of these allegations.
I had to kill Bob Morton because he made a mistake. Now it's time to erase that mistake.
He confessed to the crime himself. With a different take on a different angle. I wonder if Dick just practiced the line in front of a mirror for a while.
Probably.
Well, he's not about to go down like this. Even if RoboCop can't arrest him, Dick can still hold the old man up at gunpoint. Surely there's nothing he can do about this.
Dick?
That's very true.
You're fired. Yep.
That's very true, Zach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can just imagine the cleanup crew coming into that room to clean up the blood and bullet holes again.
Stop motion.
Oh, sweet,
Yeah,
Jesus, I was worried for a
he's
second
the
I wasn't
one
gonna
that got
work and the man
like
was
the
just gonna
mouth
fly
throat
away.
cancer, Eric.
So, happy ending! The old man is saved. Dick is dead. And RoboCop is a robotic cop
From
who
eating
will
out of
continue
vagina.
to uphold the law. Murphy's Law. After a work day like that, I'd want to relax with a warm bath and a cool drink. I guess for RoboCop that would be a trip to the car wash and some Pennzoil. Anyway, that was RoboCop. And it was clearly a product of its time. And that time was fucking awesome. It's hard to think of something more 80s than an action movie about a hero cop that happens to be a robot with super robot powers fighting drug traffickers amidst a satirical backdrop. Unless we start bringing in laser beams and punk babes with big-ass hair, I guess. So the movie feels like a movie made when it was made. That's all well and good, but the film itself is a blast to watch in its own right. The themes are dark and depressing, but the movie never bogs itself down with trying too hard to feel depressing. Rather, the commercial parodies and little gags here and there keep the mood more upbeat, which means you can enjoy the spectacle
Yeah, I forgot
without
about
the
the fact
specter
they
of
have
how
that game.
grim everything is spoiling the fun. That's not to say RoboCop is a flawless production, though. It does have issues here and there that, in my opinion, do detract from the experience. First of all, while there's plenty of admirable performances on display, quite a bit of the acting is kinda cheesy and even bland. Cheesy acting isn't a negative in its own right in this genre, of course, but also, while there are plenty of memorable lines throughout the film, there are others that just fall flat. Long dramatic pauses before delivering very basic information that really doesn't call for all that fanfare. At the end of the day, though, RoboCop is a hell of a ride and a very well put together film. At 90 minutes, they cram a shitload of characterization and plot
lore,
into the
yep.
running time on a movie that really could have done perfectly fine at the box office if it was just a montage of RoboCop shooting the shit out of bad guys. However, the more rough parts do prevent this movie from standing as tall as it really could have, coming in at 4 vials of cocaine filled to the brim, very haphazardly, out of 5. Was
That's
that
a lot of
good for- was
coke
just part of the
that
theme of
didn't
Robots
go into
Not
those
Here?
fucking vials.
Thank you all for watching.
Like
I'm
that,
Dr.
like
Shadow,
you do that
and
enough,
remember,
that adds up to like
Stay out
hundreds
of
of
trouble.
thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
All right, that's RoboCop, folks. What do you got here, Gene? You got a scene from RoboCop 2?
Yes, it's very action-oriented, so I thought, why not? Kane.
All right, hopefully we can watch it. This is RoboCop 2.
Yep. And it uses a fucking psychotic's mind in its body. Which was a horrible mistake.
Rock, I was going to say that earlier. I was going to say Peter Weller should have been a bigger star than he was.
Yeah.
Jen showing off his mafia drug knowledge. We can't be having spillage like that, Zach.
I sure hope we came up with it in the middle to shut that shit down.
Did anybody hear that sound
Yeah,
effect?
I heard it.
Woo!
Real good stop motion, too. But the second one is not as good as the first movie, no. Still a fun movie, but not as good.
There was also a RoboCop cartoon.
Yes, there was.
I don't know how long that lasted, but
I don't know either.
What's the deal here?
Christ knows it sounds like there's a war going on in there.
like Rock outside of Unknown Origin and Screamers, And of course, RoboCop. I can't even think of another movie with Peter Weller in it. Buckaroo Banzai. That's definitely another Peter Weller movie, Sweets, for sure. Eric, Naked Lunch.
Yep.
That's a good movie. I like that movie. A lot of fag shit in there, but I like that movie. He was in 24. I know he had a small bit part in Dexter. But that was like,
That's
he
so
he was really old in that movie. Leviathan struck. Oh my god, Peter Weller's in a bunch of good movies. Does anybody remember, is Peter Weller still RoboCop?
Yes, in this one he is.
In this one he is, but not in 3?
Yeah.
Good movies, but all flops. Yeah, that's right.
The sound effects.
It is very Roger Rabbit. You're right, Sweets. The sound effects. Screamers. Yep. 3 is the guy from Thinner?
Yeah,
really?
It is.
Holy shit. Thinner. Thinner would have been a better movie if we focused on the guy that got turned into a reptile or into a lizard instead of the guy that got skinnier. And I don't like what they did. I don't like what they did with his fucking armor in this. They made it like blue.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. I prefer the silver. Lizard.
This is very still, even though it's kind of, cartoony in its own sense, it's still very action movie.
Oh yeah, this whole battle is very action in your face. It's very like what you would see today in Marvel.
Yeah.
The blue armor looks like a mid-90s BMW sedan.
A little bit. Blue gas line.
Yeah, there's just something about that silver. And like in the reboot, they made it black and they thought it would make it cooler, but it just sucked.
Yep.
All right. Death Wish.
Scared to even hold a gun. Like it was a snake who was going to bite you or something. Hell, a gun is just a tool.
Correct.
Like a hammer.
Yep.
Or an axe. Wasn't long ago you used to put food on the table.
Still should.
You had the Ed 209.
Off the range. Bandits out of the bank.
There's a new RoboCop coming, folks.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reboot sequel. It takes place after the first movie. And it's from what's his name that did who's that motherfucker from South Africa that did like Chappie in District 9? Neil Blomkamp.
Yeah.
Oh, Christ. What a guess to bring to a gun club.
Yep, he brought a knee-jerk liberal.
You're probably one of them knee-jerk liberals thinks us gun boys will shoot our guns because it's an extension of our penises.
I never thought about it that way. It could be true.
Or maybe it is.
Kersey Beast, I think he does. Everybody around Kersey is
dies,
cursed.
yeah.
Yeah, they just die.
The funny thing about Paul Kersey's character, the only reason he's liberal is because his mother raised him that way. He wouldn't be because he loved his father. He mentioned in this whole scene, too. His father was a fucking hunter and very right-wing.
I'll tell you, the new Death Wish with Bruce Willis, is it as good as the original Death? Obviously not. But it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not the worst thing ever, but it's all right.
Yeah.
Watch the cake.
Watch the
Why
cake.
you gonna think the jar's gonna hit the ceiling?
Probably think we shoot guns because they's an extension of our penis or something.
Boom. Dead center.
God damn! Paul, you hit dead center!
Mind if I try this hog leg Colt?
No.
No.
This is in Tucson, Arizona, too, by the way. That's where that's happening.
These notches for real?
Yeah. Belonged to a gunfighter named Candy Dan, 18.
Candy Dan.
I do know something about guns, Ames. I
These
grew up
notches
with
are
all
real.
kinds of guns.
Here we go. All kinds of guns.
See, my father was a hunter.
Yep.
I guess out here you'd call him a gunman. My mother was the other side of the coin.
A stupid person.
When my father was killed in a hunting accident, some fool mistook him for a deer.
Wait, Peter Weller was in Star Trek Into the Darkness, Rock? That's ridiculous.
I loved my father.
I love my father.
Your gun's off.
Yeah.
Sights off.
Here we go, this scene.
Death Wish 2.
All the rats. Can you believe this is in New York City? Actually, no, this is San Francisco.
This one's in San Francisco.
Yeah, the first one's in New York City. The third one's back to New York City.
I thought the third one was in Detroit.
No, it's New York City.
It's New York? I thought it was Detroit.
No,
for
it's
some
New York
reason.
City. Even though it was filmed in London.
He was in control of Khan? Oh my god, that sounds so bad, Rock. I love 3 Tatsuya. It's such good action schlock.
Here we go.
What's this dude wearing?
Something awful, but look what he's got around his neck.
Something I would wear. He ain't looking too confident.
Yes, I do.
Well, you're gonna meet him.
Boom! Just to be sure.
I think so, Eric. I think... Is it Richard Lynch who's the leader of the Creeps in 3? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
It's not, actually. It's not Richard
Oh, here we
Lynch.
go. Here we go. The Raid. If you've never seen The Raid, watch this.
So this is a perfect action scene, right?
You're dead.
Well, so is this.
The
And,
Matrix.
Yeah, so is this.
That's
and
an old boy.
This one is pretty great too.
It's John Wick.
It is
They all
Gavin
look and feel
O'Hurley
so
who's
different.
actually the
They
leader in the
can't
third
all
one.
be perfect, can
Okay.
they?
That's the guy
Well,
from
no, of
Happy
course not,
Days.
because there is no
Got him
single way
confused
to
with-
direct action scenes that will always work perfectly. Action isn't directed by one common technique.
That's Rumble in the
but
Bronx
instead
right
is
there.
dictated by a number of factors.
That's
from
the second
emotion of the
300
characters in
movie.
the
That's
scene,
Batman
story
Dark
around
Knight
it, and
Rises.
even things like the fighting style used.
That's
but also
Ong Bak.
performing the action.
Guess they didn't
Chan
have
preferred
audio this
wider
time,
shots,
so it won't
less
get
cutting, a more
blocked.
static camera. His
That's
films
Drunken
also
Master.
generally were lighter in tone, and he made use of the environment probably more than any
Jackie
other action
Chan.
star. So the audience
Rumble in the
is given
Bronx,
more time
first
and
Jackie
space
Chan movie I
in
ever
each
seen.
shot to gain an understanding of the objects around him before he makes use of them. In Old Boy, Park Chan-wook wanted to create a sort of anti-fight scene.
Raid and Raid 2,
Above
boys.
everything
Raid and
else
Raid 2
shows
are
just
so
how
fucking
difficult
good.
This sort of thing is. How exhausting it would be. In addition, you have to
And then the
this
people from
guy
Dread were
would
like,
actually
"Oh,
be
The
capable
Raid?
of
That's a good
completing
movie.
this arduous quest."
We'll
By
make
actually
our
seeing
own
what he
Raid."
can do. You never question
And
his
that's a
skills
good
from
movie,
this point
too.
on.
Yep.
That's why they use this long one-take sequence.
Rumble taught me
The
about
Raid
wood chippers.
starts by
That's
showing
right,
us a
sweet.
guy who
And then
clearly, to a certain point,
they
is
give him a
skilled.
bag full
He's
of
a
his
cop in
friend
martial arts, and you
and
don't
make
need a
him
long
make
take
him
or something
take
to
it
show
back.
his skill. As the cinematic language so far has done its job well enough that we expect he's going to be pretty good at beating up bad guys. What we see instead is what he is fighting for. Already we don't want him to die. So when he's fighting, it's intense. It is close and brutally violent. The film doesn't shy away from close-ups and shakiness. It's almost anti-Jackie Chan in its stylings at times, but it works because technically we still hold the shot long enough
really
to
is,
see
Zach.
what is happening. After all,
He's a cop in
over-editing
Raid, right?
is much more frustrating in my opinion
Yeah.
than shaky cam.
It's just
But
like
also
you
with the
seen Dread,
intensity of
right?
story,
Yeah.
we feel how
It's
close
just like
this
Dread.
guy
Okay.
is to death at all
They got to
times.
go into this fucking apartment
See that
thing
too
and
is a
clear it
less
out.
showy style, a faster
And-
approach to
and they get, like,
hard-hitting
locked in
movement
there,
and
basically.
fighting than
Yeah.
some other martial arts. Compare the movement in the Raid, for example, to how Bruce Lee operated. in the
Equilibrium is a
Lee
damn
loved
good
the
movie,
surprise
Eric.
that
That's a
came from
damn good
quick hit,
movie.
The time spent
How do you
waiting for
take a
punch to be
cleric's
even
gun?
thrown. Jeet Kune Do is also a
You
very
ask
different
him
form
for
of
it.
martial art than Silat. Sitting out in wide allows for this kind of
Yeah,
tension,
Rock.
but
Yeah,
Evans instead
especially
has
the
these
main
long,
guy
drawn-out kinetic
that looks
sequences
like
that are less about showing
what's
the
his name
hero's
from Ghost in the
talent and more
Shell?
just about
Oh, yeah.
how the hell will he survive?
Thanks for
The
coming
whole
out,
film
Goshen.
is filled with
Later,
martial
Goshen.
arts, but it's less about
Have a good night.
This isn't, for example, a showcase the way a film about
Ugh.
a martial arts teacher is. And so you don't expect these simple one-on-one,
Look, it's
rather
Jet Li.
respectful fights you might see in
That
Japan.
is
But instead, Evans has said he sees the Raid
fuck.
as a
What is
sort
that
of
movie? Is that
survival
Ip Man?
horror.
Does anybody know? I
It
think that's
shows.
Ip Man.
I think
When
it
the
is.
Raid 2 widened the scope, expanding the scale of many of the fights, becoming more of a crime drama, the fights also change a little
Ooh.
too. The fighting in the second film at times feels a part of some heightened reality, and it has a variety of approaches that, whilst true to the original,
Oh.
feel right. for
Yeah,
that
that's
broader
that's Hammer Girl.
The car chase, for example,
Baseball
whilst
Boy.
as kinetic and brutal as the first film's melee and gun battle sequences, brings the bigger and better elements sequel strives for without losing sight.
The
of
fucking
sort of world these
choreography
characters
and the
inhabit.
cinematography in
When
these
Evans
movies
wants
is
a
just
huge
so
brawl,
fucking
he
good.
keeps in mind the grim,
It's the
gritty
same in
reality
like
of the Raid,
Ong
so
Bak
sets it in pretty
and
much
The
dirtiest
Protector, which is
locations you can
another
get.
Tony Jaa movie.
The only time you
Just
really bring in
fantastic.
this sort of tone, the more grand cinematic feeling, is while someone is pretty brutally killed. They always remain true to what
I'll tell you what a
they
good Donnie Yen
the
movie is
action dictated by the
is
story.
Iron Monkey.
Even when there's a fight scene going on.
Iron Monkey is fantastic.
So like the fight scene continues the story going forward.
Ricky O is a
Yeah,
great
the character there, there's,
Eric.
Like his motivation and everything else.
One of the key things about the action in the Raid films is that Evans doesn't shoot for coverage. Much like Chan, who was still clearly an influence on his films, Evans doesn't work on a basis that he will find his sequences in the edit. He knows what point he would edit into and out of every shot, and doesn't complete a shot until he is happy with a take. The same with Chan and all action film experts.
Drunken Master is
They
a really
shoot
good
over
fucking
and
Jackie
over
Chan
until
movie
they are
too.
happy with what they have.
John Wick.
That's what sets great
Oh,
action
Tatsu, the final fight scene where they fight the
behind
prime
like
minister that
those who
does
can
like
handle
he's got the
second unit
Buddhist
almost
palm thing. It's
I
fucking
don't like
good.
this idea now that every action film's fist fights have to be so quick and fast and every character is a martial arts expert. That's not always the way to go. You don't always have to cheat speed and skill through shaking the camera and editing quickly. You can simply go
Oh,
for
God,
more
the first
hard-hitting,
Batman
realistic
film.
styles that are easier for a less martial arts experienced actor to do.
Kung Fu Hustle.
Look at this
Also,
scene
Kung
from
Fu
the recent
Hustle
trailer
is
for
such
the
a good
upcoming
action
Atomic Blonde.
comedy.
Though Theron did train quite a bit for the role, the director doesn't push her skill too much. The
Nobody
action
wants
is
to see
slower and more deliberate
Charles
in the Raid,
Theron
but
do
it
any
is
of her
still
shit.
a great sequence. Compare this from Return of the Jedi.
Hey, look, before
to this
Disney.
from Revenge of the Sith.
Still before
One is
Disney.
incredibly over choreographed and the other simply emotionally charged, and I know which I prefer. If you don't have 100 days to shoot your action film, or the 8 days alone
Supposed to
it
be a
takes
Kung
to get
Fu
a
Hustle
scene
2
like
coming,
this,
sweets.
then simplify it, don't cheat it.
Drunken
If
Master
you
2
have
end
strong
fight scene? Fuck
characters
yeah,
and a
beast.
story your audience
love
is
Kung
invested
Fu
in,
action
then the emotion
films.
and narrative the action scene provides will be enough.
I
to
believe
make
this
it
is from The
exhilarating.
Accountant.
If the stakes are high, the tension palpable, and the actor's game.
Look
then
at
that
her,
is
Jenova.
all
Look
you
at her
need.
fight.
So you can shoot it in a
Isn't
more
she so
traditional way.
tough?
Plan
That's
your
Ben
shots.
Affleck Batman.
Don't film from a dozen angles.
Oh, the best
Audiences will
Batman, you're
accept
right.
this
The best
much
one,
more
sure, yeah.
readily than this.
That's
So there
from
isn't really a perfect action scene. There isn't
Cubana or
really a
something her
perfect
name
technical
is.
style of shooting action. But there is an optimal way of ensuring you will get the best action sequences, and that's to know what you want and to only move on from a take when you're happy with what you have. Compromise should happen before you get on set, not during the shoot. And not
Dude, she
during the
fucks guys up with them
Set your
hammers,
limitations
man.
So that what you capture on set is
Oh,
going to be
Rock,
good.
that
And you know what
is
you're
one of the
probably gonna
best
use.
fight scenes
This is
ever filmed, ever.
This is
It's
complex.
amazing, and it is
Both are
super
fantastic.
realistic. the fight scene in They Live, Gene, with Roddy Piper and Keith David.
Yeah, that is
And
really
they're just
realistic. Yeah.
talking shit. He hits his car and he's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean
Yeah.
to."
Oh, I'm sorry. It's like, son of a bitch.
You do that by knowing what the scene means to the characters and story. Knowing
Put
the
on the
limitations
damn
and finding the
glasses.
right style to
Put
work
on
and
the
support,
damn glasses.
and not compromising once you have that. I quickly want to mention I've just launched a Patreon campaign where you can help support.
Well,
this
we got
channel.
to see some of the
making
raid
these
at
videos
least,
and
because
really
I know
experimenting
we
with
did
bigger and
Kung
more
Fu like
high-quality
way
content.
back
And with
before,
you,
and I
I can
tried
take
to
this
show
the
some
next
stuff,
level.
and it got
So
us
please
banned.
take a
Yeah,
look
the
at
Ong Bak
the
one is the
page
reason why that got
and get involved
banned.
if you can.
Yeah. Ong Bak is such a good movie, though.
There we go.
Death Wish 3 in 10 minutes, folks.
Yep. This guy gets killed.
Collection time, Charlie.
Collection time, Charlie.
Also, Satan's in this movie.
Look at you, you old piece of shit.
Is that Alex Winters?
I think it is.
Is that Alex? That looked like Alex Winters.
It is Alex Winters, Jenova. He's in this movie. That's him. This is one of his first movies, I believe.
Charlie?
Charlie?
Hey, Charlie. Jeez, Charlie, what happened? Paul, take care of
Charlie
my
Theron.
things, will you? Till I get back.
From death.
Moving your dead asshole.
Every time Death Wish 3 plays on TV, the sales of the Magnum he uses in it go
Oh,
through the
yeah,
roof.
the Whitley Magnum. That fucking one.
Kersey. It's Paul Kersey. You see, I was with the New York PD the night they
This
put
Officer
a
Dude.
vigilante in with a bullet in his leg.
They killed my favorite second cousin, twice
You
removed.
always violate people's constitutional rights.
I'm the law.
Dude.
I'm the
Means I get to
law.
violate your constitutional rights.
Boom!
Son of a bitch! Cooler! Come on, tough guy! Get in there.
Damn.
I have not, Beast, no.
There's that. There he is. There's the guy from Happy Days.
Franker, you're being released. 5 minutes.
Tell you what I'm gonna do.
Ron Paul,
I'm
the
gonna kill
motion
little old
picture.
lady. Just for you.
Is that the guy
Get you
from
to the 6 o'clock
Poltergeist?
news.
Is it?
You want out of
What
here?
guy?
You got it. I'll minimize the vigilante stuff for the press.
I don't know.
Tell them it's creeps killing creeps. Nobody
Keeps,
cares.
yep.
It'll
So
be
he
just like
basically sets
before,
him
Mr.
loose.
Vigilante. With one important difference. You're gonna work for me.
Yep.
You're gonna work for me, Paul.
Do your thing. But you report to me.
Dude.
You're letting me loose?
Yep.
I'm letting you loose.
The police chief. Is the police chief from Poltergeist?
Ed Lauter, let me see.
That is Alex Winters.
Yeah, that is. Ed Lauter was. Let me see if he's in Poltergeist. Let's see. I don't see him in Poltergeist.
I wish someone would pay me to be the Punisher.
What's the problem? What?
What?
With
the car.
What's the problem?
With the car, what's the
Get out of my
problem?
fucking face. Who are you? We're stealing the fucking car. What's it to you?
We're stealing the fucking
My
car.
car.
Now you gonna die.
Now you gonna die. Who hasn't wanted to be a
there we go.
fucking
There's this gun.
vigilante?
Look at this gun. That's a big game rifle.
Dude, he set that guy up. He
Yeah.
he wanted him to
Yep.
take that fucking camera.
Yes, he did. Everybody's cheering.
They killed the giggler, man.
The giggler.
They killed the giggler!
I can't believe they killed the giggler.
I'm glad he's dead. He took my pipe for 3 weeks.
Everybody's glad the giggler's dead.
I'm glad he's dead.
Christ, there's not much left of this sucker, is there?
What a haircut.
Yeah.
Really makes a statement.
So when I said Satan's in this movie, I mean Ernest Borgnine's in this movie.
Yeah, doesn't he play one of the...
Yeah, the residents. Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Oh, the fucking
I'll just take your fucking bullets and your fucking gun.
That gun is...
Doesn't one of the residents have that gun?
No, he gets it from a special order thing. So Ernest Borgnine basically asks him, "Isn't a 44 Magnum?" He says, "No, because a 44 Magnum is a pistol cartridge, and that basically fires a big game rifle cartridge in handheld form because it's supposed to be a big game hunting rifle in cannon."
Right. Borgnine gives him the machine gun.
Yes, he does.
Who the hell's firing, man?
I think Borgnine has it from his service in Korea.
Yeah. He special ordered the hunting pistol.
Yes, he did. He also special orders the Laz rocket. It's just funny that both Dirty Harry 3 and Death Wish 3 use a fucking Laz rocket, and
oh, I can't wait to see the bazooka.
yeah, Laz.
Dude, you're so dead.
Yeah, every single one of those people is dead in the car already.
You're so dead. while my minority holds the bullets for me. In Longbees, America's citizens can have all these guns.
Oh, by the way, fun fact about this movie is the gun you see, the handgun he actually has, actually does belong to Charles Bronson. He owned that weapon.
Oh, did he?
Yes. His own personal gun. It's fucking splatter.
Good question, Sweets. Great answer, Zach. Oh, titties.
Yep.
Orangutan titties. Orangutan. Wow.
Also, I know what you're thinking. This is an action movie, right? But you want to know what else it is, too? At the very near end of Death Wish, this also becomes a buddy cop movie.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
Kersey and the
cop
police chief,
turd,
Kersey and the police chief basically team up together. Yep.
Dude, fucking knife through the head. Well, buddy cop movies certainly can be action.
Yep,
movies.
they can.
You got like
I owed you that one, dude.
Weapon,
Yep, here we go. They're both going around
Rush
together.
Hour,
Yep.
Dead Heat, Red Heat.
They're both walking on the street gunning down people. That's awesome.
You don't have to worry about being arrested.
Nope.
Because you're with the police chief.
Yep.
Me and the police chief like to go out killing minorities on Sunday. There was never meant to be a third Death Wish. Charles Bronson just went around shooting people. Hired his own film crew, like, come on, watch this. I'm gonna go clean up the streets.
Here we go. Bulletproof vest.
Oh, fucking Strog. Strog posted
we go.
Miller's Crossing.
Boom!
Boom! Miller's Crossing is a goddamn great movie. Strog. So good.
He's a fucking smear now.
I love that scene. It's probably the best scene in the whole movie.
No, we're not gonna intimidate people anymore.
Bob Marley? That guy was wearing his sister's shirt. Fucking soundtrack. Like a disco. Staring at us with that fucking Lithuanian face.
Yep. Death Wish 3 in 10 minutes. Would be after this movie. A lot of people really do love Death Wish 3. I do too. I actually love the movie. But now we move on to when canon takes more of an active hand in Death Wish with Death Wish 4. The Crackdown. Death. And his stepdaughter dies of a cocaine overdose.
10 minutes of magic. That's right, Tatsuya.
That guy gets fucking... This death.
Electrocuted. Oh! Are those wops?
Yep.
That's got to be
That's
Italian.
Danny Trejo. That's Danny
I was just
Trejo,
about to
yep.
say, is that Danny Trejo?
Yes. Yes, it is. That's in one of his first film roles, too.
Jesus. Like, you could tell it's him in the face, but he doesn't look, muscular like Danny Trejo is. I wonder if that's before the lady tattoo.
Probably. So the thing about this movie, the fourth one, is there's stuff in it that actually is very much inspired, I think, helped inspire the Agent 47 Hitman series. Because he goes around, like, in different outfits pretending to be different people and all that shit. He's also hired as a hitman to kill people.
2 weeks before that scene, Danny Trejo was in jail? For real, Eric? Jenny, they put that in. The people from Carnage Count put those sonic sounds in. It's like, they're like counting the death.
Damn.
I don't even know the girl.
I do.
I do.
That happens.
It's like fucking Blues Brothers over here. Boom. Jesus. It's just so much action.
It is.
Boom, boom.
A shootout in an arcade and roller rink. Ooh, that was his significant lover. So, you know what that means.
I warned you, I'd kill her!
Of course she died.
I warned you!
Yeah, that's what you should keep saying.
Paul Kersey is way too OP. It's like picking Odd Job and Goldeneye. All right. Next Carnage count here.
Faces of Death. Charles Bronson was like 75 in this movie.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, this scene. And that was Charles Bronson's love interest again, dying.
Never fall in love with Charles Bronson.
Oh, this guy he kills by poisoning his cannoli. I think you would relate to that, you know?
I'm gonna take care of your dandruff problem for you. I didn't think it would be this easy, Kersey.
Groucho Marx?
Never be anywhere. Never ever. You can never even know Paul Kersey if you want to survive life. You can't be his friend. You can't have passed him on the street or worked with him or worked for him.
Oh, this happened.
Oh, there it is.
But you need a bath.
Acid bath.
dun, dun.
12 kills in the whole
Dun,
movie.
dun, dun, dun.
It's actually the lowest kill count, I think, next to the original movie.
What was that, 12?
Yep.
The one before that had like 52. It's just so much fucking killing.
Yes.
He's like a fucking slasher.
Yeah.
I think entire slasher franchises have less fucking kills. All right, let's move on here to one of my all-time favorite movies and movie franchises.
Lone Wolf.
You may have heard of Shogun Assassin.
Yeah, Shogun
a
Assassin.
1980 samurai shocker. If you've seen it,
He's
you'll
the
know it
people
has a
slasher,
cheesy
that's right,
80s soundtrack, copious amounts of blood, and a pretty poor dub. I agree.
You're welcome.
If you haven't seen it, you may know it as the film The Bride's Daughter watches in Kill Bill.
Boo.
Or maybe heard it sampled in Gizza's Liquid Sword.
His name is not
If you're
Gizza,
lucky,
it's
You
Jizza.
may also have seen the original 6-part Japanese film series Shogun Assassin came from. A series that, whilst looking and sounding like Shogun Assassin, feels unique from it, and is so much more
brain
than that
is
American
infected
rip
with
of
devils.
the first 2 films. Shogun Assassin borrowed 12 minutes from the first film.
Vigilante
short
versus
of them,
slasher movie,
and
what?
the
That's a good
majority
idea,
of the
Strode.
second, Baby Cart at the River Styx, to tell its tale of samurai bloodletting. Whilst not entirely without merit, something was certainly lost in the translation to becoming Shogun Assassin. The original 6 films are based on one of Japan's most revered manga series of the same name, and follows its tale of epic Edo period adventure
It's
fairly
so
closely.
good.
The assassin Ito Ogami and his son Diagoro, the titular lone wolf and cub, wander the beautiful landscape, taking hit jobs
Jizzer
for a
sounds like a
variety
rapist.
of colourful
Yellow bit.
characters, always for the same price. Under all of this, however, bubbles a tale of vengeance, with Agami taking opportunities along the way to kill those
This is
who
called
framed him in an
Silence and
effort to remove him
Violence.
from his position.
There's
as
a
the Shogun's
lot of
executioner,
silence in this
and
movie.
in doing
Yeah.
so,
It's
murder
very
his
like
wife,
you know the Headhunter has a lot of like silence
taking
in
what
it.
he calls the
This
demon
movie
way
does a
of hell.
lot of that.
Slowly but surely, he is working toward his final.
That's true, Rocky is black.
With Diagoro descending through this hell alongside him at all times.
They're doomed in Japan.
And through it all, perhaps the most surprising and integral thing about this graphically violent saga is that gently developing bond
Jizza
between
is
father
Black Rock, yeah.
and son. If you go into this
Wu-Tang.
expecting a non-stop thrill ride of carnage, you shall come away, well, not disappointed, as there are definitely elements of that, but perhaps surprised by how much of the running time is dedicated to silence.
You have to earn like the
Not
blood splatters
actual
and
silence,
shit, but the silence is like
almost silence of nature.
it's worth it. Like there's a
This
lot
is
of
a
great
series that bashes
cinematography
its
and
location.
shit in this movie.
The violence that pierces the quiet is all the more shocking and effective, thanks to the beauty and elegance of its world.
I remember that, Eric. I remember that. They
Though
did
celebrated
used to
for
play
its
Shogun
adherence to a
Assassin.
historically accurate representation of Japan. Each film
Look at
has
that
its
kid's
own
hair.
light. Almost fantastical.
I need that haircut. That's right, Beast. It's fucking build
It
up,
feels
and like
poetic.
when you finally get your
By the final
payoffs,
film,
you
it
really
even
feel
becomes
like it's
something of a
worth it.
mystical nightmare.
Oh god.
And even in the moments of brutal violence, there is beauty. The whistle. as
It's
a
very
warrior hears a sound from
like
a
I posted some Kurosawa.
Yeah.
Kurosawa. I'm
Stuff.
sorry. Akira Kurosawa
The misty spray from
videos
above the
in the
bed as he
Discord.
awaits the seconds
And it's all about
of
like
life-ending
movement
decapitation.
and silence and shit in his
woman's
movies.
forced
And there's a lot of that in Shogun Assassin and Lone
Yeah,
Wolf
it's a lot
and
of
Cub
bones
and
are
shit.
chopped.
That's a lot of blood.
Weapons hide in vegetables.
Yep.
Bits of a face slap against a floor. But
He
even
is-
those
he
more
is gay, Zed.
gratuitous moments lead the violence into a less
But it's like
grimly
it's
realistic.
these are like
more
the best videos to
cinematically
sort of
visceral place.
like be able to see parts of the
The
movie.
final battle sequence with Agami taking on his
Oh.
arch nemesis men in a snow-covered landscape must have been incredible to see stage. It apparently took 6 weeks to film, and it shows.
They're skiing.
The team worked hard on these films, And though it isn't to the level
Yeah.
of Kurosawa's Kagemusha,
Get off
for
my
example,
mountain,
in complexity,
please.
one could imagine that Kurosawa
Yep.
would have appreciated the
Oh, that
artistry and
movie's so
technical
good.
achievement on show here. Kurosawa is worth mentioning.
There are so many British and American directors that would be nothing without Akira Kurosawa.
Yeah.
He is so fucking
What does this
influential.
remind
It's
you of?
fucking ridiculous.
Yes, he is.
Akira Kurosawa knew the power of silence, of how the calm before the storm was necessary.
I have, Eric. I've seen Collative Learning.
Sword
Yeah.
duels in reality were not long affairs.
He puts out some
with
good
clashing
analysis
parries and
pieces.
blocks. Not typically, anyway. Like a duel with a gun, it was often who was able to first break through their opponent's stance that would win, then and there, quickly and bloodily. Films nowadays are noisy, very noisy.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, it's part of the narrative, such as the vacuum of space.
Ugh.
Star Wars.
You need to stay silent to survive. There is so much sound
poor
design
kid.
that sometimes I find it hard to even pass dialogue from the beds of...
Yeah, that's his name, Rob Ager.
Spoils will be enjoyed.
The spoils will be enjoyed.
Wakanda.
Why are you always yelling?
Perhaps our ears have grown to appreciate less the silence of older films, but I found it refreshing to have a series that used sound so sparingly and yet not have that choice
And
dictated
Gene,
by
I mean,
plot
not to bring up
contrivance,
Headhunter again, but
Yeah.
we watched Headhunter and like
The silence
there's like
makes
no
it, yeah.
music.
Often
Yeah,
the
the
sound
silence
and music,
makes it.
especially in the
Yep.
films directed by Kenji
Correct.
Masumi.
And
They
because
pulled
we
almost
are so
entirely
used
out
to
at
like
times, so that we only
music
hear
and our
very
action
specific
movies and
Yeah.
all those loud noises, like
In this fight,
when you get
we
something that's
only
like
hear the
quiet,
cutting of
it's
flesh.
like you're drawn in more.
Yeah. Damn.
Sometimes only foreboding chanting. Before a mark is dropped into a dreamlike underwater world soundlessly.
They want $100 for the Shogun Assassin Blu-ray, Rock.
Music is never used to tell us how to feel.
Fucking
It rarely
Criterion.
changes tempo to match the action. In a world where anyone can die,
That poor kid.
including children,
Oof,
you
yep.
can never fully expect to know if both
Yeah, he
our
almost
heroes
kills his
survive,
kid in the
or
first
at least
movie.
get out unscathed.
He tells him you have to pick the ball or the sword. If you pick the
Here,
ball,
the
you'll
music
join your
maintains
mother.
the same
If you
tone
pick the
from
sword, you
still
come with me.
pre-battle, all the way through to the clashing of swords. You don't know when they will attack, and you don't know when and how the battle will end. Music here is texture, little more. It's not dictating anything. You can see how the Japanese and Hollywood taste differs through the contrast between the original and American.
99 for the DVD, Rocco. I have the Shogun DVD and it didn't cost. Is it the whole franchise though? Is it like the whole Lone Wolf and Cub or just the first movie? That's a
Both
fucking
were,
ridiculous
but one is
price.
certainly more what you would expect than the other. One can see how much Tarantino was inspired by this
You mean a
for
hack?
Kill Bill.
Yeah,
And with Lady Snowblood, a film I will talk about more.
that is a good movie too.
Yes,
Lady
it is.
Snowblood is really good.
Also something Tarantino ripped off shamelessly.
The
I mean,
violence
who
is
hasn't
over the top,
Tarantino
but it
ripped off?
rarely
If
falls into cruelty
Tarantino
for cruelty's sake. This is a
had to come up
series
with his
about
own
death,
thing, like
but
there
it's not
was
often
nobody
fair.
before Tarantino, he wouldn't be a director.
True.
For the creator, to live as a samurai was to exist constantly aware that one may have to commit harakiri. The spectre, or perhaps simply concept of death, hangs above the heads of our heroes constantly.
Yep, here we go.
The thing is, he's right. I was introduced to Shogun
With such a
Assassin
nihilistic attitude
through the
running
Wu-Tang
throughout, it
Clan
makes sense
because
that
they use a
creators would revel
lot
so
of
much in
samples
Japan's
from this
natural
movie.
Tension and drama are never far, though. This wonderful scene, for example, that reminds us Diagora
That kid's
just a
fucking
child
hair.
curious
Yeah.
about the world
I need
around
that
him,
haircut.
follows him
I
watching
need
his
that
father
haircut.
be tortured. It is a bittersweet, somewhat tragic moment, representing in a way what
Also, yeah,
Diagora
that's not
could
bad,
and
Rock.
should have been.
I thought
while
it was
showing
maybe
that he has
just
still
the
retained
first
some
movie
of
with
his
a bunch of featurettes.
In a way, the contrast of childlike innocence and violent brutality echoes the theme of silence and sudden noise. The two characters,
the original
represent
Baby
what the films
Yoda.
feel like perfect.
That kid is the
Each
original
needs the other
Baby
to
Yoda.
work without build and
Does that mean his
tension,
dad's the
silence.
original
How can
Mandalorian?
drama and
Yes.
noise work?
Yes.
The same that without
Weapons
color,
are part
you
of his
can't have
religion.
this war.
He's the Shogun's
Ogami's
executioner,
weakness
right?
is both
And he's so
self-inflicted
good
and
that
can
the
be
Shogun
removed
comes
at
to
any
fear
time.
him.
He
So he
chooses to
sends a
keep
bunch
his
of
burden,
like
and in
samurai and
Gentle
ninjas and
Romans,
shit to
we
kill
see
him
why.
one night instead.
で切り合いにな
And
った
he
らこの子危
survives.
険じゃないですか。この子に例えば刀を突きつけられて殺すぞって言われたら万歳するしかないでしょ。
Oh man, look at that all white
ところ
suit.
がこの親は
Holy
万歳しないん
shit.
ですよ。
Looking
殺せって言う
fucking
わけですよ。
clean.
ほんで大五郎も平気なんですよ。見てる人はハラハラハラハラ
Fresh.
するわけ
That's
ですよ。
fresh.
それがヒットの要因だっていう。
To go back to that idea of silence and violence,
I
for a
agree
moment,
100%,
I do not
Rock.
think
No
that
matter
all
how
films
good a
should
movie
remain
is,
this quiet
$110
throughout or
for a
anything like that.
Blu-ray.
What filmmakers should do, though, is consider the power of silence in not just building tension, but to be experimental.
Hollywood doesn't know what that word means.
Now seen independently, no one of these is a truly classic film. Though the second, Baby Cart the River Styx, and the final, White Heaven and Hell, do get very close. As a series, though, it is a quite magnificent experience.
Like the series is great, but if
They
all
do
you ever see is
sometimes
the
veer
first
a little too
movie,
much
like
into the pinky
you know,
violence subgenre for me, that was
that's
popular in
almost
2005.
enough.
With there being scenes of sexual violence, I of course cannot show here. But
Sexual
whilst
violence.
unquestionably in line with the
Oh, yeah, he's gotta
nihilistic
fight those
tone,
3
does
chicks.
at times feel a little tasteless.
A little
As
tasteless.
cartoonish as the action will
All right,
sometimes
dude.
appear, do not go into this expecting something fun.
Just cutting off
Violence
legs.
against men
Don't
and
expect
women
anything
and
fun,
children sometimes
Genova.
is ugly. I cannot
Look
deny
at those
too that the
fucking-
films
look at that
are
blood
repetitive
splatter.
and
Of
have a
course it's
clear point,
fun.
though that actually works for the stories of these characters.
It's not fun,
Each
Genova.
film feels like a circle of hell.
Death
which,
isn't
with
fun,
their title
Genova.
speaking of the river Styx, demons, and a heaven within hell, feels
Yeah, I don't need
right.
him to preach
Thus,
to
one
me.
can imagine that Agami and his son are
British,
still on
isn't he?
that demon way in hell.
Yeah.
That explains a lot.
No, Gene. Hollywood knows what experimental means. They
Criterion have
just
released
only
a
apply it to
wonderful
Harvey
set of these films
Weinstein.
restored
Ooh,
beautifully.
yeah.
I urge you to check them out if you have any interest in Japanese cinema. Or
I
the
encourage you to
samurai in
buy
general.
that $100
They are sometimes
DVD.
silly,
Chill.
often poetic.
I really want that fucking haircut.
And never dull.
I really want it.
Anchored by 2 brilliant lead performances.
The
this
actor did
series
do an
represents
amazing
a
job,
very
Sweets. He's
specific
really
time,
good.
culturally and cinematically, and deserves its place in history as something truly special. Thank you for watching. If you do want to check out these films, please use the affiliate link in my description, and remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. if
Gene,
you'd like to
before
be
we
informed.
move on to Tammy and the T-Rex,
Yeah.
I would like to show 1 or 2 more videos.
Sure, I saw Strog showed Hard Boiled he put in the Discord too. That wouldn't be bad to show because that's a good shootout scene.
Okay, this video is only 3 minutes.
Okay.
I'm gonna put this one in and another one, and then we can check out that hard-boiled scene.
Yeah, and then we'll move on to the other stuff we have for tonight.
Starring Arnie himself, the king of 80s action films, one could easily make the argument that Commando is the ultimate body count action film.
Genova is the marinara
Far more
assassin.
serious Rambo First Blood Part 2, slap bang in the middle of the 80s, and together both can be seen as different versions of the same.
We get a little bit. I mean, we've talked about
Next
Stallone.
version,
We've
Hard
talked
Man
about
forced into action.
Schwarzenegger.
Although where Rambo was sent back to Vietnam, here we find John Major.
But I feel we would be remiss if we didn't show a little bit of
Yeah, I
them.
get you.
Buttons and odd taste in clothing. After a number of guys from Matrix's old unit are assassinated, he finds himself attacked at his mountain home and his daughter kidnapped.
I do find it. I think
two have a great
I think it's
relationship,
a really
and really
good point
shown
to
by
just
this
bring up
montage.
though in
Until you
general
know
that
these
I don't
men
think an
fucking
action
hate
genre would have existed
The film sets up these
as like
badass
an
pretty
action
well,
thing in
and
general
this is a
without
great
Dirty
self-aware
Harry
moment
or
in a
Death
film
Wish
full of
because I think those
right?
movies laid the groundwork for that.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I mean, there was action before them, but it was a little different.
Yeah,
it was more like Western action or like Kurosawa type action and shit like that. So
to put it into more modern thing, you'd see with Death Wish and Dirty Harry, obviously.
Very easy to follow. The geography is established beforehand, and though it has a number of elements and people to follow at the same time, you always know where they are in the space, and it never gets confusing.
I don't really care what this guy is saying, but it's the only way we can watch
Not
clips.
all that memorable, but technically solid car chase.
Yeah,
We then get
that's
to the main
Alyssa
antagonist,
Milano grifter.
Schwarzenegger
She's
taking on Bill Duke's
really
Predator.
fucking young in
There's
this
no bleeding
movie.
out real fight here, though, with Arnie making a pretty big mess of him. You might seem to notice a trend here where the action is fine, but nothing all that exciting.
That
Could it
means
be
he
that they are
kills
saving it for a big
marinara, right?
finale?
Zach, I'd be
Who knows?
killing
But it keeps the film
all
moving and
kinds of
gives Arnie lots of time
Italian
to show off and
plates
make quips.
full of food. They don't stand a chance.
I lied.
And that's one thing that's great about Commando, and sadly lacking from action film nowadays. The humor. Sure, the action is functional, but it's made so much more entertaining by a surprisingly decent helping of light comedy.
Fuck you, asshole.
You can't help but appreciate its self-aware attitude, and it really does support the action. What this is all leading to, though,
These guys eat
is the
too much
final
red
action
meat.
sequence, and where the other
Doesn't one of
two
these
are
guys get a
vulnerable. This
fucking
has to be one of the
hatchet to the
defining moments of
balls?
the
I think so, yeah.
Schwarzenegger walks
It's
onto an island
that's
state
probably the
surrounded by a
worst
small army
fucking.
and proceeds to kill just about everything.
Like, just shoot me or blow me up with a grenade, but don't hit me with a fucking hatchet.
It's funny how he
It's
says
usual you
Commando
never
is
feel the need to
like
question what happens. With the film
the
employing
best
enough
action movie,
wides and
right?
establishing shots to keep
I
the
almost
focus
find it because of
arguably
just how
like
it is in
Star,
general. It
instead
almost
saying
seems like
really
it's a
functional.
parody of an
But after
action
seeing films
movie,
like
just with how
Take
insane it
No,
is.
that's a
Taken
really
Free,
good
with
point.
action sequences like this.
It is very much like a parody of action
Watching
films.
Commando now is ironically a breath of fresh air. You can't really fault Commando for its action, except the fact that Matrix seems to be impossible to hit with bullets. Literally, these guys
Let
are
off
worse
some
than
steam.
stormtroopers. And I was disappointed by how little Matrix uses the rocket launcher. For all they build it up earlier in the movie, he only uses it to destroy this car.
Hey,
And then a
Dakota.
wooden gate. He could climb over that. Otherwise, though, it really is a film that knows exactly what it is and does it well. It may not have the serious tone of the Rambo films, the style of Terminator 2, or the basic quality of Die Hard, but it does have a
hearing
knowing
about
sense of humor and
Terminator
very
2.
well-constructed action sequences. It might look a bit dated now,
There it
but
is.
when movies
Oh,
like
no,
The
that's the one
Expendables
where he hits him
struggle
with
to
the
strike
arm.
a balance of action and
That
humor
guy
with
takes
films
forever to
done
fall
so
down
effortlessly,
too. I remember
You
that.
can't help but be glad Commando exists.
There it is. Let off some steam.
Bennett. Yep. And Bennett's weird because he has the whole thing.
Oh no, don't worry, I got it.
Okay.
Let's see if we can watch this hard boiled scene. It's 5 minutes. I don't know. Look, I would love to watch a lot of these things, but we just can't sometimes.
Yeah. We'll see.
And then after this, I want to watch a good bad flicks real quick.
That's fine. We've got plenty of time, so no rush.
Showa incoming. Yeah, sweets. That's the thing, man. Hard boiled is. Like, I love hard boiled.
I honestly think it's John Woo's best film.
Pause. I just paused it.
No.
Okay, I'll play it again.
Is that just to avoid it, just in case?
I mean, look, I think the reason why we don't pause as much as we do is because sometimes when you pause watch together, it just the whole stream mutes.
Yes.
Let's not forget John Woo's best film, Face Off.
My cousin's in that movie.
Didn't Hard Bastard get 90 days for hard-boiled clips? It's possible, Zach. I know he used a lot of shit. I'm just pausing every now and then, just in case. Man, Hard Bastard, that's the name I haven't heard in a while. Is he still around?
I know I got 90 days.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And 2 faggots.
That fucking endless journey or whatever
Yeah.
they fucking call him. So gay.
It is. I showed their clip of their video in a fucking...
In a transformative way.
Yeah. I was talking over it constantly.
Mostly he used Aiden Pallet. Is Aiden still around?
I hope
Is she
not.
is she still crying on streams?
What a loser. Florida man arrested for hanging on traffic lights and shitting on cars passing underneath.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that in the Discord. Yeah.
People in Florida need to get off the amphetamines.
Oh, is he Italian? Is Hard Bastard Italian? Hey, yo. Hey, yo, if he ever needs help, let me know. Why don't you come see the family, huh?
Boom.
John Woo really does know how to do action really well.
Mm-hmm.
He's really good at it.
The only problem I have is all the people that are untalented that copy John Woo and think that makes it so everything that they do.
Like John Woo.
Yeah. Yeah, like John
Like
Woo.
when John Woo goes American. Aiden showed up drunk. Aiden is like the town bicycle. Everyone gets a chance to ride.
You don't want to ride the crazy bicycle.
She is crazy, isn't she?
Yeah.
Doesn't she have some like? Isn't she like autistic or something?
Something like that. Yeah.
I thought she was dating somebody. Wasn't she dating somebody? I guess she was dating Didn't she? Wasn't she at what's his name's house? Sinatra Says. Last time I heard about her, she was at Sinatra's house.
He broke up with her too because she was crazy.
Of course. Sinatra, fellow Ohioan.
All roads lead to Ohio, where sometimes they also lead to Florida.
That Vagine has had more YouTube collabs than Worski.
I remember the scene from The Matrix.
Who hasn't Aiden dated? She hasn't dated me.
He's throwing himself out there right now.
Shoot him.
Nope.
Dude, you got the barrel pressed right against the fucking eye. I wouldn't want to. No, Eric. That's a whole bunch of drama that I just don't want to deal with.
They're all empty.
I'll send her your email.
Oh,
don't do that.
It's him the Lord to Chaos.
No, yeah, that's fine. I'm gonna put in another movie from or not a movie, but
Another thing from chat.
Another video. Yeah, before we get into the reviews or whatever.
The reviews we'll be doing.
We've still got some time.
We do.
There's a couple of like good bad flicks I think it would be good to watch.
Sure, sounds good to me. Look at Euronymous chat. This guy's a faggot. Even though the actor himself playing him is not. It's Macaulay Culkin's brother.
No,
yeah, it's either his brother or his
sure,
cousin.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
And there's a
Equalizer
few
2000 is a
Culkins that are
1987
out there.
Post-apocalyptic action film from who else? Sirio H. Santiago.
I mean, I'd
Opens with
boink her.
gun
I
with
wouldn't
his
give
name
her my
down.
address,
A voiceover explains
real
the
name, or
backstory.
phone
100
number.
years after an ecological disaster,
Euronymous
Alaska's a
is
desert,
sweet.
and it's one of the few
Euronymous
places
is played
still
by
inhabitable.
Rory.
This
Rory
makes me wanna
Culkin.
play
Rory
Dark
Culkin, yeah.
Sun. A brutal military regime.
Oh,
runs the
who is?
wasteland,
I believe
calling
he's
themselves
he plays
Ownership.
Fuller in
I think
Home
I remember
Alone.
that team from
Yeah, I think
G4's
so.
Arena. The ownership
Fuller
seems to have
wets
the
the
market
bed.
cornered on black shirts and pants. Slade
Rory
gets a message
Culkin,
that
I'm
his
gonna
He's
father
a
is
brother.
fighting the
Okay,
Rangers
Rory's
and
a
is in
brother.
trouble.
Okay, yeah.
The Rangers don't look all that organized.
He looks a lot like
the
his
ownership's
brother.
reinforcements arrive and proceed to blow stuff up.
Yeah, a
What is
lot
on
of the
this guy's
Culkins.
helmet?
A lot of the
Slade's sort
Culkins
a
look alike.
prototype
Yeah,
heavy
there's
sorter,
Kieran.
isn't he?
Yep.
The ownership soldier's
Kieran
gonna help
is
Hillman, but the commander tells them to
Kieran is
stand
the
down.
gay
This
roommate
naturally
from
upsets
Scott
Slade, who
Pilgrim,
goes
I
in
believe.
without them. With Slade down there now, the commander, Lawton, tells the troops to open fire. Gary,
So this
you're
is Italian
shooting in the
movie?
wrong direction. Slade's dad
I
gets hit with
guess.
some mortar fire. He goes to rescue
Hey,
him, but
Moppy.
oh no. The Rangers
This
take him
and the other
hostage.
one I wanted
We
to
see that
watch
Slade's an
seemed
officer, so they
fitting
plan to
for it,
trade
yeah.
him
more
for the
like
return of some of their own men.
seemed fitting
The
for
soldiers get
tonight.
back to
So
the base. Now that Slade and his dad are gone, Lawton's going to get a promotion.
and they're
Was this castle
we're
built
all
by
over the
Mammoths?
spectrum when
This
it
guy's
comes
ready
to
for the
things
XFL.
here.
The soldiers tell the commander that
Yeah,
Hillman's
Moppy, I'm right here.
dead
Hello.
and Slade joined the Rangers. Back at the Ranger
Yeah,
camp,
it's your
Slade is
favorite
doing this
co-host,
impersonation
Moppy.
of Tawny Katayan in a Whitesnake video. The next day, he escapes and steals a car. The soldiers chase him across the desert. Well, that's an artsy shot.
That is
the car
artsy,
drives
yeah.
along and
Oh, Jenny.
I think someone borrowed a
Oh,
prop
Jenny,
from the
did you
Thunderbird.
post
Over at
a
Exchange,
picture of
Deke and his men
Reverse
are waiting to do a
Flash
trade with
on
Karen.
that
She's
meme
there to
in the
trade gas for
Discord?
supplies.
Well, guess
As per
what?
usual, everyone in the apocalypse
They're gonna
is
have a
covered in dirt and
female
grime,
Reverse
and
Flash
the
in the
lead lady
movie.
looks like she just got back from the salon. Deke tries to rip her off, but she's not having it.
I'd love to blow
Female Reverse
Sweets,
Flash.
Sweets, I would say it's like a video game action film. Street Fighter goes right in there with like Mortal Kombat.
And gets away. When she's far
Unless you're
enough away,
talking
she
about
drops the guy off. They slash at the
Street
car,
Fighter
and aren't these guys
films
trying to get
with
their gas back?
Sonny, what's his
Karen then
name?
ditches the car. That driverless car just made a left
Sonny
turn.
Bono?
And the car goes off a cliff.
No, not
Wait,
Sonny Bono.
why did she
Sonny,
do this? Now she's on
Chiba?
foot, and the soldiers are still
Yes, Sonny
after her.
Chiba.
Was this a failed diversion?
Yeah, I guess those would count
Slade
as
just happens
action
to be
movies.
nearby and sees what's
They were
going
kinda
on.
kung fu-ish,
He
though, in a
rescues
little
her,
bit.
but then
Well,
rolls
kung
down the hill,
fu
and she
action.
has
It's
to
like a
rescue him.
subgenre of like explosion action, you know?
Yeah.
Did he just call him?
Yeah, Sonny Chiba.
Karen
Yeah,
takes
that's right,
Slade
guys.
to her town and lets the doctor Bones check him out.
Bones.
Damn it, Karen, I'm a doctor, not an actor. Back at the trading post, the ownership captures Deke and his men. They're going to
Deke.
execute them, but Deke tells them he knows where Slade is. Instead
You've
of
seen
killing
this
them, they
movie,
make them
Porky?
recruits to the ownership.
Or you
Back in
lived
town,
this
Slade wakes up
movie.
and finds his dream gun. The soldiers attack the wilderness people. Hey, Peter, Chris, any day now.
Yeah, I would say
they
that's
capture one of the
that's
bad
like
guys
video
and
game
take him to
action,
Firewall.
Sweets. That's
They
like
let him go to warn the ownership to leave him alone. The guy makes it to Lawton, who
it's like
decides
Mortal
to have some
Kombat
fun with
shit
him.
like that.
Ow, 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 this was a bad idea. Slade has a
Eric,
sweet,
this
sweet love
movie is
montage
called
between him and
Equalizer
Lawton. The whole thing
2000.
is just duct taped together, isn't it? I wonder what the Equalizer
Oh,
3000
Dakota,
would
you
look
talking
like.
about the gun
The townsfolk
kata?
see the ownership arriving, so they use the newfound weapon to fight them off.
Sonny Bono was too busy ignoring murders at Waco to make a Street Fighter.
Slade meets up with Karen, who drives him around. He decides he's not doing anything stupid and dangerous, so he stands on the hood of the car. He shoots
Fuck
down
yeah.
some rocks and blocks
Look at
the
that
ownership.
gun!
That night, the ownership finds them. They take the gun and Karen. Deke
That
doesn't want to give
fucking
up the
gun.
so they tune up the ownership soldier.
Hey, Jenova, I didn't know you had a role in The Sopranos,
Well, that
says
doesn't
Dakota.
sound all that bad.
Of course
the
I
Rangers
do,
try again to get
Dakota.
Firewall to join them.
You know
but
I
they
do.
refuse. Lawton finds the guy they left behind. Oh, thank God you've come to my rescue.
Torch him.
Oh, why?
That
Deke
wasn't
heads
a
back to
joke,
the
you
outpost.
monsters.
Slade
But
shows
it's
up to
still
rescue
funny,
Karen.
Zach.
Deke accidentally shoots one of his own men, who's filled with
Deke.
Smuckers. Deke takes the gun
That
and
is
runs off, but
Smuckers.
he's stopped by the ownership. Now that Lawton has the gun, he kills Deke. Since Slade rescued Karen, she decides it's time to reward him with some of this.
Thank you,
The Rangers
Cecil.
find the ownership has the gun.
Best
This
part
one
of
matters
Van
to the
Damme
last
Street
one
Fighter
in
movies.
costumes.
Kylie Minogue,
Slade drops
buttocks,
Karen off with the
buttocks.
survivors of her town,
Beast.
but leaves because he wants to take out Lawton on his own.
I
Slade
was the
beats up
gay
some of the
guy?
soldiers and
Dakota, you
rescues
son of a bitch.
The rebels are heading to attack the ownership headquarters.
Son of a
And it's
bitch.
stealth. The army gets ready
I'm
for
Tony
the attack.
Soprano, you
Hey,
motherfucker.
Steve, could you be careful with the
Wish.
prop guns? We only have like 10 of them left. Karen and the rebels
Tony
show up.
fucking
You know what,
Soprano.
guys? Just bring your own wardrobe. They sure do love setting people on fire.
Fire! 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 Fire!
Slade takes over one of the flamethrowers. Oh dear! Is this what being on fire feels like? I don't like this at all! When all seems lost, they call in Firewall's people to help.
Uh-oh, Tongo!
So why
More
was
like
it Lawton
Bobby
on the roof with the
Bacala.
super gun this whole time? Okay, just look at the range of this guy's expressions. For some reason, Karen lets Lawton know she's going to shoot him. So he shoots her. Hayward finds the Equalizer 2000. So I guess he's the boss now. Slayton finds Lawton.
Bro,
and
finding
TGP
out,
Hayward shows up with the gun, which
I was
Slade
about to
uses
say,
against
finding out
Lawton.
Big
The
Pussy
world
was a
saved,
fucking
but
rat,
Karen is
dude.
dead.
That was
So
quite
Slade
the
destroys
episode.
gun, and everyone else follows suit.
Message
Hey,
about
don't throw live
guns.
ammunition into a fire. Slade then drives off alone. The movie was shot in mid-1985 for
Don't
roughly
preach to me, movie.
$500,000. Like most Santiago films, this was shot in the Philippines.
Oh.
The majority of the film was shot in
Oh.
a gravel pit. Numerous times during filming, they had to stop because the demolition team was setting off charges in another part of the pit. The film was written by Fred Bailey, who also played Hayward. He had previously
Okay.
written Wheels of Fire for Santiago, and after not hearing from him for a while, he wrote him a letter saying how much he'd like to work with him again. Shortly after that, Santiago contacted him, and he was hired to work on Silk. While working on Silk, he also wrote
That
Equalizer
movie.
2000. He was paid $3,500 for each.
Remember that movie,
After
right?
working on Wheels of
Where he
Fire,
plays a
Bailey
woman?
was tired of night shoots.
What?
He wrote
I'm
Equalizer
pretty sure.
2000
I'm pretty
to take place
sure.
almost entirely
Red
during
Letter
the
Media
day.
watched
Santiago
Silk
liked
one
the script,
time.
but told
Yeah.
him he needed his night scenes. So he went back and wrote
It's
them
the
in.
woman cop
Bailey
movie.
was really big on environmental protection, so he wrote the film as a cautionary tale about the environment. Global warming caused the Earth to become unstable, and it turned Alaska into a desert.
Shut up.
Silk and Equalizer 2000 were shot back to back with about a month break.
Shut up
in
about your
between.
global warming.
The idea for the movie came when
80s.
someone in the production team suggested making a post-apocalyptic film
Never heard
that
of it.
borrowed the story of Winchester 73. Winchester 73 was a western from 1950 starring
James
Jimmy Stewart.
Stewart.
It was about a gun that passes from person to person. Equalizer 2000 took the concept of a super gun and had it change hands numerous times during the film. Originally,
Super
Bailey
gun.
was supposed to play the character of Deke, but after casting, Santiago told him he was going to play Hayward, and they had someone else to play.
The
That
quad
someone
barrel
was a then
shotgun
unknown
from
Robert Patrick.
Phantasm is
Santiago
still
had
better
just
than
worked
that
on
weapon.
Another post-apocalyptic
is.
film, Future Hunters, where he played a hero also named Slade.
They
Initially,
did,
Bailey
Porky.
was sad that
I
he lost out
believe
on the
they
role,
either
but
replaced
once
it
he
with
met
a Neil
Patrick, he
Breen
understood why he was
movie,
cast. While working with
or
him,
they
Bailey saw Patrick's
watched
dedication and
Partners.
told him he had a feeling he was
One
going
of
to
the
make it far
two.
in this industry. 5 years later, he's playing one of the terrorists in Die Hard 2,
What?
and a year after that, he was the T-1000 in Terminator 2. Richard Norton played Slade. He's the Australian martial arts champion.
Wait, he
you
played the
probably
T-
remember
wait,
from my
when?
video on Force 5. Corinne Wall played
I wish we
Karen.
could watch
She was the
Partners.
Penthouse Pet of the Year in 1982
Partners
when she
looks
was
so
Penthouse.
bad.
She changed her name to Wall when she married actor Ken Wall in 1984.
Oh, Ken Wall from The
They hired
Taking
an
of Beverly
expat named
Hills.
Westfall as an
We
extra
watched
for
that
the
movie.
production.
Yeah.
It's
He dies at
fantastic.
least 4 times over the course of the film. He had just finished a run working with the Peace Corps when they brought him on board. Years later, Bailey ran into Westfall, who told him a story. When Westfall was working for the UN in Africa, a child came up to him excited and told him he wanted to show him something. He led him through a trail to an isolated village and brought him inside a small hut. On the wall of the hut was a hand-drawn replica of the Equalizer 2000.
Look at that.
The
It looks
kid
like one of
said,
them
"You're in this
Ugandan movie
and it's our
posters.
village's favorite movie."
It's our village's
Westfall
favorite
asked him why
movie.
they liked it so much, and he said, "The gun!" The gun was designed by Santiago's production designer, Joe Mari, who was Scourge in Wheels of Fire and Yashi in
I
Silk,
wrote some of
amongst
those
other
articles,
roles.
sweets.
It was Santiago's idea to have the survivors destroy the weapons at the end. In
Dear
1992, the
Penthouse,
Santiago
I never
film
thought it
released
would
The
happen to
Sun
me.
reused footage from Equalizer 2000 to help
course he
keep the
did.
production budget down. Equalizer 2000 is another wonderful post-apocalyptic film. It's full of action, adventure,
Global warming won't
explosions,
cause this
big
to happen
hair,
to fucking
leather pants,
Antarctica
and
or
demolition derby
Arctica.
cars. It also has
The
the
Arctic,
greatest,
excuse
most
me.
memorable gun.
Global
in a
warming will
post-apocalyptic
cause
flick.
super
Bailey's
guns.
not particularly happy with the film. He said, "It's a pretty terrible movie.
Let's
and if
speed
you
it up
saw
then. I want more
I'd
super
be
guns."
embarrassed." I can understand that to a certain degree. It's about a hero that seldom wears shirts liberating the Alaskan desert from a villainous group called the Ownership by using a gun that looks like something designed by a 15-year-old in shop class. All I have to say to that is, yes. And that's why I
Yes.
love it.
Yes.
Post-apocalyptic films are something special to me, and the more absurd, the better. So they may not have the best acting or the best effects, but
Or the
they
best
have
story.
heart. This was one of those ones that had a message, but at least it had the decency to present itself and not beat you over the head with it. It
Not
got
till
in,
the end.
was entertaining, made you think for a minute, and got out.
Yeah,
Sometimes
Jenny. I'm
it's
sure. I'm
all
sure
you
at
want in a movie.
someday we'll watch some of these movies. All right. I just want to watch one more good bad flicks before we go on to our. And then I've got another one if we have time. If we have time, but let's see, what is that? This is Cocaine Wars.
Mm.
Shirts are for Jews and villains. So just villains.
The movie opens with a plane of illegal cargo landing in a field. It's a pretty rockin' synth score. So after about a half hour of people looking into the sky at random jet footage, it finally lands.
You know me,
Drug
Jenny.
runners
You
are having
never
a meeting
know
with
what kind of
Klaus.
trash I'm gonna
Seems
bring.
Ricky's been stealing drugs from the past few shipments.
He'll have
We all
a
know what
whole
happens to
month to
criminals
do
who
it.
steal from bigger criminals. How much of this movie
Oh,
is
you
going to
wait.
be
I've
ADR?
already picked out some special shit.
Wow, killed by an extra from Surf Nazis Must Die.
He is, yeah.
The commander spares Cliff Adams' life because he knows he had nothing to do with it. Is his name Reyes or Regis?
Yeah, you owe me money, Regis.
The soldiers thought they were
Regis.
going to murder Cliff, but now they don't know what to do and just stand around awkwardly. As
Jenova,
they...
the original trash
I
man,
remember
and
this
he
movie
isn't
now.
from New
This is a
Jersey. He isn't
live-action
even from
adaptation
New
of
Jersey.
Tropico. The guards catch one of the workers stealing coke. Even the llama's upset. Is Cliff going for the action hero look or the out-of-work French painter? The guards then drown the guy in... I
Toxic
think that's
waste?
supposed to be an outdoor toilet? Oh wait, I guess it's acid. Why isn't it burning the hands of the guards then? Reyes then tells everyone to get to work.
Get to work.
Okay, good.
He's talking to a general about a deal they have. Cliff then shows up like a Bond villain. Okay, he said it again. Am I saying it wrong?
You owe me for the last shipment, Regis.
Regis.
Okay, I guess it's Regis. Anyway, Regis is holding on to Cliff's
Regis?
airplane. unless
Where
it
are the
kills someone.
Hispanics? The
He
Hispanics
refuses
left, so
and
we don't know if it's
Bailey's
pronounced
having to talk to
Reyes or
Cliff
Regis.
really
Reyes
knows how
is
to
how
make
you
an
do
entrance.
pronounce it.
Cliff, how they hanging? What are you doing here?
He tells Klossman he knows he's been stealing from Regis and that he set up Ricky. It's knee to the groin time. He did not see that one coming.
Ooh.
I get it.
Catches
I
a
get
ride
it.
With Bailey. Klossman's worried that Adams is going to tell Regis.
I
so he
am
hires someone to kill
uncomfortable
him.
with this
Cliff goes to a hotel
Jewish
and heads
ritual.
right to the bar. He's talking to the bartender, and here comes the first assassination attempt. There's a big window in a bar.
Mexican?
You know someone's getting launched at it. In walks Janet, a reporter who knows Cliff. She's
Pancho
doing a story
Villa.
on new Coke or original formula? Oh, the other Coke. Bailey gets robbed, and one of the bad guys gets shot right in the baseball cap.
Do you
Cliff
think
goes
that
to his
pomade
hotel
needed
and
some
lousy
hair?
soccer hooligans. He bribes the hotel manager to hold a package for him. Turns out the guy Regis wanted dead is a politician running for office. I don't like you. Uh-oh, the general sends in the troops to break up the speech. Janet escapes in, I think that's a Trabant? She sees some guys try to kill Marcello, so she
I
rescues
don't know.
him.
I'm terrible
Notice
with
they
cars.
just left the other guy. They manage to get away, and a
Porky, what
disgruntled
is
crane
that?
worker drops a log on the bad guys.
Well
Oh
then.
my god.
Janet's patching Marcello up back at her place when Cliff shows up.
Is that
Back in
fucking-
those days, you weren't a man unless you were showing a mile of chest
What's
hair.
his name?
Wilhelm calls Klausman to tell him that Janet
He
was
looked
harboring
like,
Marcello. This girl looks like, what am I doing here?
What's his name from
Klausman tells Regis, and they
Ghostbusters?
think
Oh,
Cliff
Egon.
double-crossed them.
Egon,
Janet talks
yeah.
to Cliff about when they were in love.
Problem?
I'm a car guy and I don't know.
Smell
Even
like liquor
Dakota
and
didn't.
cigarettes. Well, not tonight, I guess. He tries one last time with the Hail Mary pass.
You may never see me again.
Nope.
what's that say?
Cliff leaves and gets chased by Wilhelm.
You may
Ain't
never
going to
see
run
me
you
again.
over.
So, I mean, let me
How
inside you.
embarrassing would it be to get killed by this guy? He's outrunning a car. He gets on the hood and makes the guy crash into this papier-mâché wall. He'd probably survive
That's convenient.
that. Oh, never mind. That guy was trying to kill me, so I killed him first. Does that change your mind about the sex?
That's what a
No,
Hail
I
Mary
guess
pass
not.
is.
Cliff makes a phone call. Turns out
Hail
he
Mary
isn't a drug
pass.
runner,
A Hail
but a
Mary
DEA
pass is
agent
the
that
long
went
shot.
Deep
Sweet.
undercover. Janet and Cliff go to see Marcello. Cliff gives him a packet with enough evidence to overthrow Regis. This upsets Janet. It's not always about you,
Damn it, Janet.
Cliff decides to stop by the local brothel. Why exactly does she have aluminum foil on her nipples?
Yeah.
Cliff isn't there for the ladies, though. He's there to see Bailey.
'Cause-
What the hell? Cliff
the
tells
fuck?
Bailey he'll help get him out of the country. Janet stole some of the info from Cliff and is rushing to report on it. Cliff's talking to the general about getting Regis out of the way. Janet's
Regis.
talking to Cliff.
It's
She tells him
Reyes,
she's
that's how you
figured
say
out
it,
that he's
but the movie,
DEA.
the guy didn't know how to
Does
say it in the
she drop
movie.
his cigarette and whiskey and chug it?
Ew.
That's the second time.
Ew. Get what the
The soft
fuck?
music starts up, and you know what that means. Oh my god, I'm totally doing it with Bo Duke. That is a lot of naked. Never thought I'd
A
see
lot of
John
naked.
Schneider's O-face.
Ugh.
Marcello sent the picture Cliff gave him. to
That's
the
his
newspaper, which upsets
O-face?
Regis. Regis calls Cliff. I think he's trying to inform him about his bootleg
Just a
surge
fucking
manufacturer.
smile.
Cliff lets him know he has a deadfall set up, so if anything happens to him, a package goes to
Ladies.
the press. Klausman sees this and thinks Cliff is going to turn him in. He tries to shoot him, but
I
fails. Listen
think
to
she
this
may
voice
have
they decided to
drank
use
the
for
cigarette
Klausman.
butt, Eric.
Yeah.
No, really. This sounds like a kid.
It does.
Was that really the best take they had in their audio banks? We interrupt
It's the
this
best
crime
take
drama
they had
some
for the
polo.
money they had.
Klausman just doesn't give up. They somehow manage to lose Klausman by getting him stuck in a puddle. Allow me to
Yeah,
expand
but
on
Jeeps
that.
are supposed to be able to get through that shit.
Jeep stuck in a puddle. Back to Polo.
Thank you.
Looks like
Thank
Klausman
you,
ended up
Cecil.
catching up to them. Cliff then kills him by making him drive off a cliff.
All right, Klausman.
Later. But Jeeps are supposed to be able to go through
dummy
that.
drive off the cliff. So we're gonna
It's
make
a
some more
Jeep
sense.
thing you
They
wouldn't
go to see
understand.
Regis. Cliff tells Regis he killed Klausman. He then tells him he wants his plane and $2 million. Cliff goes back to his hotel room. No, it wasn't raided by Regis's men. It just always looks like this. He sees the news leak Janet's story early, so everyone's in trouble. Cliff goes looking for Marcello and walks into a trap. The general then takes him in for torture. Janet's running away from
Nice
Regis's
Nikes.
men. Since Cliff isn't talking, they set him up for torture by electrocution. It's quiet, and then the score kicks in. Janet gets
Pretty
abducted.
good. That sounded
Cliff
pretty
pulls
good.
a fast one and turns the gun on the general.
Just throws him in front of the car.
What was the editing?
Well, that's a
I think
unique
it's
way to get rid
him
of
like
the bad guy.
remembering like
Cliff
all the
drops
shit
Marcello off
things
with
they
Bailey.
did to him.
He takes the package and loads up on guns and gas.
Guns and
Public
gas.
service announcement. If you're a miscellaneous henchman in a movie,
I
never
do
go
not,
pee.
Strug. I do
Just
not
in case you
remember
weren't
a
sure
movie
how
called
bad
Jake
Regis was,
Speed.
This henchman only had 2 days left. for
Sounds amazing,
retirement.
though.
Cliff then blows the
That
place up.
henchman only had 2
I think
days
he
left
killed
to
the
retirement.
soundtrack
That's
guy
funny.
too. He takes the main henchman and leads the rest into a trap. Looks like all that's left is Regis. Oh wait, now all that's left is Regis. They then fight it out. Janet tries to help, but gets donkey punched. I can only see this ending with Regis getting blown up. I stand corrected. Cliff gives him an overdose of his own coke.
Fucking K!
Okay, I was right. Now he gets blown up.
No. Oh, there we go.
Cliff and Janet then fly back to the U.S. The whole thing ends with one of the most romantic lines ever.
You look like shit.
This was yet another low-budget action film from Roger Corman's Concord Pictures.
Of course it was.
She says that with love.
You
look like shit.
John Schneider played Cliff, the DEA.
Of course, it's also made in the
long-running
Philippines.
show, The Dukes of Hazzard, had just ended, and he was looking to get back into movies.
Of course.
He did a few films like The Curse
Oh, I remember
and
that.
Cannonball Fever before settling back into TV, with shows like Grand Slam, Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman, and Smallville. Famous character actor Royal Dano played Bailey. He has nearly 200 credits to his name, and he's been in just about every genre, from big movies like The Right Stuff to classic TV shows like Gunsmoke. Even some cult films like
Oh
Killer
yeah,
Clowns
he's in
from
Kill.
Outer
Yeah, he's the
Space
old
and Space
dude.
Invaders.
He's the old dude
Federico
that
Lupi
basically
played
says
the
they stole my
evil
Pooh Bear.
Regis. He's done tons of television, which caught the attention of director Guillermo
Where's
del
my
Toro.
Pooh Bear?
The two have worked on numerous productions, from Kronos to The Devil's Backbone to Pan's Labyrinth.
Ugh.
Director Hector Oliveira
We
worked many
looked
times
at those
with Corman.
movies last
He's
Friday.
directed Barbarian
Yeah.
Queen, Wizards of the Lost Kingdom, and co-produced Deathstalker. and
Deathstalker
2.
2.
Cocaine Wars isn't
He
the
means
best
Rape
action
Stalker.
film. Really, it's more of a drama than action. There are some action scenes throughout, but it really doesn't take off until the end. The story's interesting enough, it's just quite a bit different from the usual Corman formula. John Schneider is likable as the DEA
John
agent playing
Schneider.
both sides of the fence, and Catherine Witt is good as the nosy reporter / love interest. Federico
Big head.
Lupi
That was
makes for a solid
Porky's
villain
cameo in
and
the
is
movie.
very believable as the
You're welcome,
evil drug
Sweets.
kingpin.
One word from me and you are dead. Your corpse will fertilize the coca crop.
Overall, it's an entertaining B-movie that tackled a very controversial hot topic at the time.
Cocaine.
All right. I'll play the. We can do the Tammy and the T-Rex thing that you want to do here.
All right. Are you guys ready for a party
Everything
movie?
in Tammy's life is just great. But when you're young and in love, life can get
Paul
very
Walker.
complicated. Especially when it involves an insanely
He's dead
jealous
now.
creep.
He is, yeah.
my lady, all right?
Late night phone calls.
I want you to come over.
Late night phone calls.
Sneaking
I want you to
around
come
someone's
over.
house.
Sneaking around.
Don't worry.
Your boyfriend getting dumped in a wild animal park.
Yeah, that happens.
And a crazy doctor
He's German.
Well, that's it.
who turns out to be a mad scientist
And if you're going to make an omelet, you have to break a few eggs, right?
with an insane invention that only needs a brain.
If I only had a
This
brain.
Tyrannosaurus Rex just wants to be a party animal.
Sheens just suck. Hey!
Nobody believes it anymore.
It was a dinosaur.
What?
A what?
It's more than a machine with a brain. I mean, it is a machine with feelings. We're on the brink of something special. We are going to be immortalized.
Is that really you in there? Oh, Michael, what have they done to you?
Turn him into a T-Rex.
You poor thing. You gone crazy.
Byron, I am not
Carnosaur.
crazy. This is just a little hard to explain.
We found the dinosaur, Sheriff. It's in a truck being driven by your son.
By your fag? He was gonna say your fag.
See a couple of folks
This
back
Michael's
at the
gay.
hospital. They say he's
Michael,
still-
sorry.
Still what?
Byron's gay.
The dinosaur. Oh, jeez. That is my dinosaur that you are threatening. I made him and he is mine.
What are we gonna do?
I will give you immortality.
Not if Tammy has anything to say about it.
Not if Tammy is.
Look at that. Alright. Let us
The Fast and the Furious.
let us talk about Tammy and the T-Rex, a film I watched. So
Yes, go ahead. Talk to us about. Well, you need to specify.
yes, I do. So Tammy and the T-Rex, when it was released originally in theaters, was PG-13. It's not really a good movie for that reason, because with the PG-13, they toned down the gore that was originally intended in this movie, and it comes off more as a romantic comedy. This movie is a mix of a romantic comedy and a horror movie, right? Like, the T-Rex is a slasher. He kills people. Like, he kills a lot of people. So let me get to how this movie starts out. It starts off with, like, this pumping 80s soundtrack, and you see, like, 80s aerobics shit going on, right?
Sure,
That's
yeah.
basically where you see Tammy. She's just doing an aerobics class, and then her like friend Michael comes in. Michael wants to be Tammy's boyfriend, but Tammy decided the whole horrible choice of dating Billy, the bad boy, the guy who's basically been like banned from school several times because he beats people up and he fucking like assaults people for
Paul
going anywhere
Walker?
near. No, not Paul
No,
Walker.
okay. Okay.
Paul Walker is Michael.
Okay.
So yeah, you basically from there you see like how they get along and everything else, and they see their gay friend Byron, who basically dresses like a Rastafarian.
Sure.
Billy basically shows up too when Michael shows the interest in Kathy to with that whole dichotomy of like, oh, he's the guy you have to look out for and all this stuff. Michael is actually like a very talented football player though as well, so he's wearing a cup when Billy starts like yanking on his dick.
Okay.
He's trying to like yank on his dick, so there's a like dick standoff, and they're both pulling on each other's dicks.
80s homoeroticism.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And this line comes out from Billy says, "What are you gonna do now, dickless?" And when the cops show up, they both say, "What we got here is a testicular standoff."
Stupid.
It is. It's pretty dumb. Cut from that scene where it's just like it, establishes that Tammy runs away after all that and all this other stuff. You cut to a scene where this fucking German doctor with this hot secretary scientist that he's with. His name is Dr. Walkenstein. He is overacting the hell out of his role when he has the T-Rex impaled.
We saw him in the trailer, right?
Yeah.
Chewing the scenery like he's starving.
Mm-hmm. You see him basically display like he makes he has this midget, right? A midget computer operator who runs the stuff for the T-Rex.
Mm-hmm.
He has him basically like demonstrated skill and all this other stuff to this like bodybuilder guy he has with him too, who's like his bodyguard, personal bodyguard. And then he's like, this guy's like crazy. He's a hack, is what the computer guy says. Then we cut from.
I get it. Computer guy hack.
He says the other guy's a hack. Or wait, I don't remember who says who's a hack.
Either way.
Yeah.
Hack the planet.
Yeah. Then we get back to like Billy. Michael. She calls up Michael's character. She's like, "I need you here right now. I need you to come over." So he's like all happy and everything. He goes into his fucking drawer. He kisses a condom he has. It's like he knows he's gonna get laid tonight, I guess.
Sure. She said, "I need you to come over," and she spelled it C-U-M.
I guess, yeah.
So he knows he's getting laid. Yeah.
So he basically gets over there. He starts climbing up her balcony. Not balcony, but like that terrace thing, like some people have, like that thing where like little vines and shit near their house. When he's doing that, those two skank girls basically see him that are part of Billy's gang because he has a whole entourage of like girls and guys who surround him that are punkish. So basically, what happens is there's this. They go into the bedroom, right? I mean, Tammy and Michael, but they're like being really comical about it because like shit keeps knocking over and she keeps breaking things, or he keeps breaking things. And her dad actually calls her on the phone saying like, "What's wrong?" She's like, "Oh, that was just me, Daddy. I accidentally knocked something over when I was listening to my music. I'll go back to studying. Love you, Dad." Like all that shit, right? And then after that fucking happens, Billy shows up with his like whole fucking army of punks to like break in this fucking family's house. I feel like I'm watching something out of Death Wish with how these fucking people break into the house. Like, so basically, Michael leaves from there, and she basically tells like Billy off a few times too, because it seems like she's done with Billy like fully. So she doesn't want to do anything with him anymore. But then there's a teenage car chase where they're chasing Michael around. They hit him with a baseball bat in the back of the head.
Yep, that's very Italian of them.
And Billy basically has him down and everything else. He's like, I'm going to make you regret ever doing this ever again. He puts him in the back of his fucking trunk. Right? So they take him to a big cat animal preserve. And they don't tell him there. And they just leave him there. And he basically tells Billy, thank you for just leaving him there. But then he gets fucking mauled by a lion and is in a coma.
Okay.
Cut to the hospital where basically he's still in this coma. Tammy's crying over him as well as Byron being there. Billy shows up to just say, like, I wanted to talk, Tammy. I didn't expect this. Like, bullshit. He didn't expect that to happen because that was obviously going to happen to the dude. She kicks him in the fucking dick. She kicks Billy right in the balls. Says, I'm done with you. Get out of here. And she's like, I'll make you pay for that, bitch. And all this other stuff, right? Because the German scientist is actually a scientist that knows people and is considered a doctor, someone in the hospital called him and told him about the kid that's in a coma that he might be able to help. So basically, he just starts getting on top of fucking Michael and starts hitting his chest when the nurse disconnects the life support. And he's just like, "Live! Live!" Like, it's the most comedic way you could ever see like someone do it. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. They're dead. He's dead now." And she faints, and the kid faints. Oh, I forgot to mention, too. Billy's only guardian, his parents... Not Billy. Michael's only guardian, his parents died, right? So he has a drunken uncle that's his only guardian. Drunk Uncle Bob.
Sure, okay. A drunkle, one might say.
A drunkle, yes. So he's basically there, but he's passed out drunk. They fake Michael's death to take out his brain for the fake dinosaur. When they're doing that, the scientist basically just grabs his fucking, like, secretary's tits and says, like, we're going to create life! Just grabs her tits.
Life! Yep.
And there's a few, when that happens as well, when they start doing that stuff. There's a Wizard of Oz reference in there. I forget what exactly is said, but I know it's a Wizard of Oz reference. I didn't write it down, I should have. Something about, like the witch or something, some shit like that. When you see the German scientist, by the way, he's constantly smoking throughout this movie, like chain smoking. And
So me.
Yeah, and when he's actually operating on Michael, he has a cut in his surgical mask where he's still smoking a cigarette.
Okay. Those are the good old days.
So when he starts, like, cutting into Michael with, like, this actual, like, heavy-duty fucking saw, like, industrial saw, there's, like, comedic blood splatter everywhere. He starts making, like, brain gags as well when he's doing stuff with the brain. He's, like, saying, oh, look at it. Look at this little brain. We're going to put that little brain in a big body and all this stuff. And, like, I think that's where there is a reference. Like, he says, if we only had a brain, oh, wait, we do have one now. Like, that kind of shit.
Right.
So after that's done, they basically staple Michael's head back together in his body because they're gonna take it to the morgue to prove that he's dead, even though he wasn't. He, like, actually, like, revived when they were trying to take him out of the fucking hospital. right? So the coma wasn't that severe. Then the fucking secretary just punches him to knock him back out. And then when he wakes up again, she punches him again to knock him out again. After that happens, basically they're done. All the stuff is done with that. They were going to lobotomize Michael's brain so he'd basically be very, very docile as the fucking dinosaur, right? But that doesn't happen right away because they say they'll do it tomorrow. So the midget, who's the computer guy, and the muscle dude basically order Sicilian pizza.
Okay.
That they both like split for pizza. Like they say it's like $10.
Yeah, go halves on a pie.
Yeah.
He got half pepperoni. I got half pineapple.
Mm-hmm. So when that happens, Michael starts coming around because he sees his body and everything else while being in the Tyrannosaurus Rex body. So he starts like attacking the midget dude. He actually decapitates the fucking midget and bites his head off. So that's an interesting scene because his body still like moves forward.
And they show it, right?
Yes, they show it fully.
Right, because this is the version you watched is the version with
That's
all
uncut,
like
yep.
the R-rated
Yep.
like blood and gore
Yep.
that they cut from the original movie right
Correct.
now.
But you know what's really funny though? Before that scene, when it's actually like showing the T-Rex's shadow on the wall in certain shots, you can see the boom operator, Mike.
Of course, I wouldn't put it past a movie like this where you can see the boom, Mike. It's actually more common than you think it is.
Yeah, I just found it really funny that that's like
Yeah.
the shot's like, oh hey, look, this factory is really empty and everything else. A boom shot.
Yeah, boom, boom, boom in the shot.
After that happens, the muscle guy tries to fight the T-Rex, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a mistake because basically the T-Rex just pushes him out the door and then crushes him to death under its feet. Oh God. So after that, Michael actually uses the phone as the Tyrannosaurus Rex to call fucking Tammy. It's just a bunch of low growling noises, so he has no idea who it is, right?
Right, he's a T-Rex, yeah.
And then Michael did that to call her. Actually, she doesn't know because she's at a party after Michael's dead, right? And the funny thing is when you see our boy Byron again, our black gay dude who looks like a Rastafarian, he's dressed like a Brotherhood of Islam member at this fucking party. I'm like, what the fuck?
80s. Yeah. Sorry, it's the 80s.
Yep. So basically Tammy leaves at a certain point as well because she sees Billy there and he tries to do the same shit again with her, but she says it's through, Billy, stop doing this to me, I hate you, all this other stuff, and other people like back her up on that at the party. There's a scene where this one girl is basically trying to flirt with a bartender there because there's like booze at this party, and Byron's also trying to flirt with him, too. And the bartender says this, don't worry, girls. Caveman Ken's here to take care of you. To the gay guy being called a girl. So, yeah.
Caveman Ken.
Yeah. So, basically, when Billy's at the party, his friend Weasel keeps following him around. And basically, he's going to try to follow fucking Billy when he's going to go have sex. Like, dude, fuck off, is what he tells him pretty much. So then Weasel just tries to hook up with somebody else, but he goes to take a piss first. And when he's taking the piss, the dinosaurs, there's like, who put this stupid, like, dinosaur statue here? And as soon as he fucking pees on it, fucking Michael rips out his guts. So it's a gut. You see all the guts pour out of this guy's body after he gets cut. It's great. So basically, Billy ends up with that sleazy chick you see him with earlier, the blonde. And I think Billy has an inferiority complex because when he keeps nailing her, she starts screaming really, really loudly. But it's because the T-Rex is over them, right?
Yeah.
And he says this, "I'm good, right?" Like he doesn't like he thinks he's inadequate.
Yeah.
But she gets basically picked up by by Michael's dinosaur body, and her fucking foot's ripped off. And then fucking Billy is running for it, and everyone thinks he's like pulling a gag on them. Then he's decapitated.
Like you do.
Yeah, so his whole like headless body falls down. That's a pretty cool scene. There's these two guys that are like everybody's pretty much running away from the dinosaur. Like it's a whole massacre thing that happens, pretty much like a slasher scene. He basically only kills the people that were involved in his death, though. So it's not really you don't feel bad for any of these people. But two of the guys hide under a car and they think they're safe. The T-Rex is on top of the car, jumps up, pushes down, and they're crushed to death by that car. And you see that. You see their faces like squishing and shit. So the only person he actually helps up is Byron, because Byron falls down and he lifts him up and then dusts him off after Byron falls down because they were friends.
Mm-hmm.
So after that happens, basically the Sheriff Black is called there to see what's going on, and there's like a lot of gay jokes because the sheriff's son's gay and Byron is there, and there's a bunch of gay jokes at his expense. But from like both the sheriff's assistant deputies, Laurel and Earl, I believe their names are. Great names.
Yeah, sure.
So after that happens, we cut back to where Michael escaped the facility, and the sexy Helga is the actual secretary's name. She looks at the guy who is the muscle dude. She says this to him: "You're looking a bit flat today, Carl," because he's been stomped to death.
Yeah.
And from there, we cut to Billy's actual funeral because
he's got the inferiority complex. He just lets people walk all over him. Go ahead.
So basically, the plan of what Tammy and Byron do, because they both realize slowly that Michael's in the body of the dinosaur, right? So they want to get Michael's body out of the grave. He actually is like off of the sides watching the funeral of his own body, and he hears like his Uncle Bob start talking about him, how much he loved him and everything else, right? And it's like really emotional, and the movie tries to make it really emotional, like in a hokey way. And as soon as he's like still choking on his tears, the priest just goes and pushes the dude out of the way.
Yeah, that sounds like a normal priest.
He just like, okay, oh, that's great. like he side checks him almost, like, what the fuck?
Get out of my way.
So then everybody's left besides Uncle Bob and Tammy and Byron. So basically they gotta go try to dig up Michael's body to put his brain back in there. That's what they plan to do. But when they're about to do it, she tells Byron to go do it, and he's like, "No way am I going down that grave, girlfriend."
Of course, Byron, the gay guy.
Yep, and she says, "Okay,
Byron
fine,
Black.
I'll just do it." As soon as they open the fucking coffin, Michael's body is like really rotten. It's got maggots coming out of it. His eyes are all rotten, and like there's rats coming out of his like body too, and they like freak out and like they're going like ah.
Ugh.
So basically, they have to go to the morgue to try to find a new body for Michael, while also kidnapping the scientist and his secretary because they got themselves caught trying to catch the kids, but the kids got them. So when that happens, there's a lot of comedy with that too, where they keep trying to see which bodies Michael likes and which ones he would want. But like he doesn't want any of those bodies. So when that happens, the scientist and the secretary Helga basically get out. The sheriff is there, the police are there, and basically it's not the sheriff, it's the deputies, Earl and Hurl. They basically just say, "Oh, we'll come back to get you guys later," and as like they can basically talk now because they removed the like sashes over their mouths. And what the doctor tells her is like, "Helga, chew my rope," and that's a sexual scene because you think she's gonna like just chew through the rope that's on his hands. No, she just like leans her head down. I think starts just chopping on his dick.
Oh, watch the teeth, ladies.
Yeah. There's a high-speed car chase with T-Rex in tow. And they basically hide in this abandoned barn. This abandoned barn is found because Michael basically goes to help Tammy there. And because of that, all the police and like the entire thing come to get Michael. They don't realize that it's a person's brain in the robot body. They just think it's a robot dinosaur going like crazy. Basically, it's like they're all out there. Tammy, they basically decide to surrender to the police. So they use Tammy's bra as a white flag. There's a surrender flag because they got nothing else that's white.
Right. Yeah.
And as they go out there, the scientist comes back saying like, "Oh, I'm going to take my dinosaur. It legally belongs to me. You can't stop me from doing this. I have a tranquilizer to basically take it like out." And they like no one's listening to the fact that there's a human brain in that fucking thing, except Tammy's like, and no, Byron's like, "Why do you need a tranquilizer for something that's supposed to be a robot?" And like, yeah, that's a good point. Then he tries to like the scientist tries to use some cockamamie way of making it sound like it's a new system thing. When he goes in there, basically Michael disembowels him, like instantly. He said he couldn't control the dinosaur, but that was a lie. Michael just rips out his entire like guts again.
Yeah.
And then after Michael starts coming out in the dinosaur body, but the police just fire on it, and like everybody after that happens just starts crying, like it's sappy crying over Michael's dead body. And then there's like after that there's a huge cut. You go back to Tammy's house, she's so happy and everything. Turns out what she has now is she basically has Michael's brain in a jar connected to computers and a camera so he can see, where she's trying to find a new body for Michael. And that's how the movie kind of just ends, with her doing a striptease for Michael and saying, "I need a new body, babe," is what he says to her as last thing, because he can talk now with the computer. And that's how the movie ends.
She's going to hook him up to a Sibian.
Yeah, I guess. So this movie, I will give you its merits and downsides. Excellent party movie. This is fun to watch with people. If it was on YouTube, this uncut version, I'd say I'd definitely recommend this movie to watch if you want to like entertain people for a really bad movie.
Right.
It's dumb, but it's self-aware that it's dumb. Like there's several instances where it just seems like they know they're in a bad movie, and it seems like they're really playing up to it. A lot of people said that there's acting in this movie's bad. I don't think the acting's bad. I just think certain people overact in the movie for the fact that they know it's not the best movie.
Like the doctor.
Yep, the doctor's the one. Michael's actor was pretty decent when he was on all that stuff. Billy was overacting. Tammy's actually a pretty decent actor too. Our Black Sheriff is a pretty decent actor. The two bumbling character cops are actually still pretty decent actors for like they're like character actors, so they do a pretty decent job. This movie is also an 80s time capsule because holy fuck, with all the music, style, wise choices, all the shit, it's very much an 80s time capsule.
80s as fuck.
Yeah, it's really 80s as fuck. So the downside is because the restored version is a restored version, there are some grainy cuts here and there when you realize it's older footage. Some of it looks okay, some of it looks like it's highly restored, but other times it is a little grainy, like you'd see in My Bloody Valentine when you see that restored.
Right. Yeah, you brought that up, and I immediately remembered watching the restored My Bloody Valentine cut.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, like, especially the scene in My Bloody Valentine where he pushes her head through, like, one of the, like, he
valves,
impales her head on one of the valves. Super fucking grainy.
Mm-hmm. So the other thing that's a negative, at least I find, is like for a plot point thing, Billy being super obsessed with Tammy makes no sense, as he has girls that flock around him. He has a lot of girls that flock around him, many of which are hotter than Tammy herself. The only real existence he uses so that he can hurt Michael and put him in the coma, so the whole plot goes into motion. That's probably his only reason to exist, and he's kind of killed like halfway out through the movie. So
right, yeah.
There are wonky effects with the dinosaur at times, looking like it's done in post. Like really, really shittily done in post. It's not the best. It's stop motion for those scenes, but it looks like it's like edited in post when they did that. So that's a little strange. And the ending is pretty abrupt when it just happens, because it just like it's the whole strip tease thing, and then he's like, "Babe, I need a body," and it's just like credits. So that's obviously they wanted to make it like a sequel to this movie, I guess.
You're right, yeah.
But a sequel that never happened. So overall, with that said, I give the movie Tammy and the T-Rex a 3.3 out of 5.
3.3, okay. And that's the
restored version.
The restored version. It's rated R, right?
Yes.
It's got all the gore and the decapitations and shit. And that's really fairly new. That cut is really new. Tammy and the T-Rex has been around for a long time.
Yes,
like you said, from the 80s, but people have known about it for a long time. Red Letter Media did it and stuff like that. But the restored cut, I mean, I think they did that this year.
Yeah, I think they did.
or at least the year before that. It's not really that old, this new restored cut for Tammy and the T-Rex. And people that have actually been, I remember people went back to Tammy and the T-Rex and they were like, well, there is footage that was cut from it and it was really gory and really R-rated.
Yeah.
And then there was sort of like a push to get that restored.
Yep.
So, but it's on Shudder, right? That's where you watched.
That's where I watched it. It's a Shudder exclusive, I think, at the moment. So, I'm sure they'll put it other places too. But it's kind of that's what Shudder does. Is it's quote unquote Shudder exclusive. It's like it's a preview or stuff that will get released in larger distributions later. So, that's Tammy and the T-Rex.
Shudder, Dakota. That's how Gene got it. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yep.
Sounds like I've seen bits of Tammy and the T-Rex, you know. It always comes up when you talk about like what's that movie with Whoopi Goldberg, Theodore Rex, I think it's called.
That one.
Like Whoopi Goldberg and shit like that, or Carnosaur. You know, it's a film. Yeah. So, and this is when Denise Richards was almost an actress. Like almost
like I think this was like her first like movie.
Because when I think of Denise Richards, I think of Wild Things.
Yeah,
I think of her and Neve Campbell having a make out lesbian kiss. In
Wild Things.
In Wild Things, or the fact that Charlie Sheen was her husband.
Yeah,
that's really all I think about. From wait. Didn't she play Christmas Jones?
I think she may have.
In one of the Bond movies?
I think she did.
Was that her name?
I think so.
I don't remember Anonymous Rex Sweets. All right, that's Tammy and the T-Rex.
Give me just a second. I'm doing something real quick, and I'll be right back upstairs. Moppy wants to be fed, so I can't really change the thing yet.
Oh, Jenova, dear Jenova, I will be showing you it. She was. Oh, yes, that's right, Strug. She was in Starship Troopers. That's right. She was Fleet Command. She was in the fleet. Nope, no rants today, Dakota. Wednesdays are usually rant days if I go on a rant. For Hell Comes to Hollywood, when we talk news and stuff like that.
That is when he...
It's usually when I get my chance to rant. I try not to go on too many rants, but they happen. So if you want to hear me rant, usually, like I said, Wednesdays is probably your best option for something like that.
And as soon as I round the corner here, and I click on the capture, go ahead and show it.
All right. What do we got here? Lords of Chaos?
Yes.
Here I am.
There's Macaulay Culkin's brother, playing a commie.
But you couldn't be more wrong. I'm the founder of Mayhem, the most infamous
Mayhem
band in the world.
We're Lords of Chaos.
They're dead.
You guys suck.
Mom, tell her to get out.
Hollywood's take on a black metal band. What could go wrong?
Having fun, drinking beer, playing hard and loud music. And then everything changed.
When we burned down the church.
The lone wolf. I point you. Bass player of Mayhem.
We have to take this to
That's Varg.
That's Dead Skull too, is what he gave him.
If you do this, we're He did it.
Terror has swept across Norway.
The police have described the murder as extremely violent.
Either you do it for the cause and you take action, or you do it because you want attention. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah, Gene does the Music Mythos stream. He did one on Mayhem.
You pretend to be my friend so you can hit me off guard?
Why do you care about him so much?
I thought you were true Norwegian black black metal. Invented it, and now you betray it.
They're dead.
You had this dream, this vision. You were in control. You were a leader. You could still be all of those things if you wanted to.
Everyone around
And Marie Cohen plays Varg, Eric.
Jake Kilmer plays dead?
That's Val Kilmer's son.
Oh, is it?
Val Kilmer's son plays dead, yeah.
What a role to take.
Do it.
Do it.
Pull the trigger!
Hi, pal, it's Dad. We're going to the summer house and we would love it if you come.
All right. Tell it like it is.
I didn't really take any notes on this movie.
Okay.
You're a guy who's more into the history of these guys
Yes.
than I am,
Yes.
so you would know. Now, this movie says based on truth, lies, and everything that happened.
Yeah,
right?
a big criticism for this book is that that book, but the movie is based on a book called Flee the Light, I believe, possibly, or something like that.
Mhm.
That book was like highly hated by a lot of the people in the black metal community because it did invent a lot of stuff. So that's why it says the lies part. Not to mention
Yeah.
Euronymous himself being a very dubious source, along with Varg, for actual information of what fucking happened.
Yeah, and the director for this movie, look, the guy does a lot of Madonna music videos
Oh
and shit.
god.
If you go to his IMDb, it's a lot of music videos for
Ooh.
people that aren't metal.
Yeah.
So
I remember too, like one of the things I heard Mayhem, like even Necro Butcher saying, like the thing I saw the most out of this movie is that fucking Metallica pretended they were us for a music video they did.
oh yeah, it's called Man Unkind.
Yeah.
But what they did, they get the guys from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
They get the guys that play Mayhem in the movie, Rory and Kilmer and all of them,
Yeah.
to sing a Metallica song on stage, like it's a concert.
Yeah.
So that's really the way it works, unless they're talking about something else.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, I don't think they never sung like a Metallica song, Mayhem, because they fucking don't like Metallica, like most people don't.
No, I think in the movie Euronymous says something about like he makes fun of like speed metal.
Yeah.
And he makes fun of like death metal.
Yep.
And he says like, oh, they should call it life metal, something like that, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But so I can't really take you through like I said, I didn't write notes down
Yeah,
for
that's
this
fine.
movie. I can't really take you through like an actual plot synopsis. Now, this is based on real events.
Yeah,
and
because the
Gene
church burning did happen, yes.
right, and Gene has covered a lot of what really happened over on his music mythos.
Mhm. The Mayhem one.
series. Yeah.
That's actually probably like the
Um,
longest, I believe, Mythos of Music video I did stream, because it's like 4 hours long, because there's just so much shit with Mayhem. Wait till we get to talk about Emperor, because they fucking are also pretty guilty of a lot of stupid shit like this too.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you right now, if you are an animal lover, you will not make it past the first 10 minutes of this movie. It's actually okay. Now, also, this movie is made by Vice.
Yeah.
It's made by Vice Films, so you're gonna, we know how Vice is.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of cat death.
Yeah.
I mean, Euronymous comes into Dead's room, and there's literally just a cat hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah.
And they talk about how Dead didn't like cats, and like they go to like hunt cats in the woods just because.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this movie does not paint anybody
good, no,
in a good light.
No, because they weren't really
It
good
makes-
people.
Like Euronymous looks like a poser.
Yep. He pretty much was anyways, so there's
Varg comes off like a poser.
Yep.
Varg also comes off like a crazy guy.
Yeah, I mean, when you kill someone the way he does, it's kind of, maybe he was.
And that was one of his complaints. He said it came off making him look like power hungry. Which he actually doesn't look power hungry. Euronymous looks power hungry in this movie. So basically, the synopsis for this movie is the band Mayhem becomes very popular.
Yeah.
They have their lead singer dead, right?
Yep.
Dead eventually kills himself.
Yes, he does.
And he's an edgy boy. He's a very sort of like, or at least that's the way they paint him in his movie. So
he was in real life too. So yeah.
Yeah. Everything I say about these characters is the way they are portrayed in the movies.
And a lot of it, even though they said, Necro Butcher's like, well, they painted us in this sort of way and everything else and all this other stuff. Mostly people always feel like that's more towards Dead than anybody else because he did not like Euronymous. Nobody really liked Varg either. Like nobody likes them in the band.
Yeah,
originally.
you don't get a lot of like Dead that doesn't like Euronymous. There's not a lot of that.
Yeah.
But and Dead is only in it for maybe 25 minutes before he kills himself.
Yeah.
Because like they needed a singer, then they got Dead's tape.
Yep.
And then they started their band and they went on not necessarily tour, but they started doing shows with Dead. Right.
Where he would slice his wrist on stage and everything else.
Yeah, and they show him cutting into his wrists and doing all that shit and the blood flying out in the audience and stuff like that. And Varg is actually like a fanboy of them for a while.
Yeah, he was in real life too. So
Varg actually sees them. They're all always at like this Euro shop.
Yeah, it's the Helvetica one.
Like,
it's the Helvet.
Getting like euros and shit. And Varg like comes up to them and starts to talk to Euronymous at one point, and this is before he's in the band.
Yeah,
and he goes, "Hey man, you guys are like really good." And Euronymous just points to a patch on his denim jacket, and it says Scorpions on it. And he points to that patch and walks away because Varg's a poser for liking Scorpions because the Scorpions suck according to Euronymous, right?
Of course.
Now Varg says, "I've never had a Scorpion. I've never listened to the Scorpions." That's what Varg said. But again, this director, and again, this is such a contested movie. It's very controversial.
A lot of people don't like it, like in the metal
A lot
scene.
of people don't like it, but I'll tell you what. I'm willing to believe a lot of it.
Yeah, I can believe it too.
Simply because what people tend to not like are true depictions of themselves that they don't agree with.
Yeah, well,
right. It's
well,
like,
I mean, some of these people can't really say if these depictions are true of themselves or not because they're fucking dead.
Yeah, exactly. But eventually, like Dead kills himself.
Yep. Shotgun to the face.
Well, he cuts his wrists.
Yep. Cut his throat.
Then he cuts his throat, and then shotgun to the face.
Yep. That's true to real life too.
Euronymous finds him. Euronymous takes the pictures of him, like they have, right?
So here's the big thing, I guess, as a question, just for the movie in general. Does Necro Butcher play a big part in this movie because he's supposed to in the actual story or not? He's the guitarist.
Yeah, I think Necro Butcher leaves.
Okay.
I don't know if that's I think it's Necro Butcher, but I think Necro Butcher actually leaves after Dead kills himself.
Yeah.
Because what happens is Euronymous picks up pieces of his skull and makes like these
necklaces,
these necklaces and shit like that, or at least that's what you think. Later on, you find out they're just chicken bones.
Yeah.
They're not actually Dead's skull.
Yeah.
In the movie.
Yeah, I don't know in real life or what.
I don't know in real life, but whatever. So and Euronymous and him get into an argument about it.
Yeah, because he was actually like really good friends with Dead.
Right. Euronymous basically says, "Look, you can either wear this or you're out of my band." And I think Necro Butcher is like, "Oh, it's your band, huh? Okay, well, I'm fucking done." So he leaves. I think. Right. I can't remember who everybody is.
It's okay. There's a lot of people in Mayhem.
The movie really focuses on
Euronymous and Varg.
Right? Because eventually Varg becomes the singer.
That's strange because I don't think he was in any of the fucking things because it was Necro Butcher for the longest time. He was basically more a guy that did like a little mixing for Mayhem, but I remember.
Well, Varg becomes the singer for Mayhem.
Okay.
Well, okay. So what happens is after Dead dies, Euronymous opens up a record store and starts his own label.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how he meets Varg.
Yeah.
Varg gives him a tape, right? And says, "This is me," and that's Berzium or something like that.
Burzum is how you say it.
Yeah, it's like Burzum.
Yeah.
And Burzum, and they don't have the money actually to like produce the tape, so Varg's mom pays for it.
Okay.
And then Euronymous, there's this whole thing of like Euronymous starts like withholding money from him and shit, and like Varg is like, "You're supposed to pay me back," but Euronymous says like, "Look, you're the lead singer of Mayhem. You like that money did go back to you. It went back into the band," type of thing, right? So Varg is a little pissed about that and everything like that, but they play Varg off like he's crazy. Like Euronymous talks so much shit.
Yeah.
And Euronymous is this guy, right? Okay, so Varg burns down the church, right? And Euronymous takes credit for it.
Yep.
Euronymous says, "Hey, you listen to me, I did that." And that kind of rubs Varg the wrong way. And it becomes this pattern with Euronymous where Euronymous doesn't have the balls to go do these things himself because he's not really that guy.
No.
And Varg is like, "You're always taking credit for what we do." But eventually Euronymous and Varg, they do go out and they do burn some churches. And eventually a church is burned as like a promotional thing.
Yeah, it's the Stavish church. It's the one that was used in one of Burzum's actual things, because Varg was still doing Burzum at the time as well, even though he's supposed to be with Mayhem's whole thing. But he does like split off and does his own shit with Burzum.
I assume the photo is on Google, Dakota, if you look it up.
Yeah, that church was rebuilt like 7 years after they did that, so...
Right. So there's like a montage of sort of church burnings. One of the guys who he's not really in the band, he's more of like a groupie guy. He like hangs around like he's part of the Black Circle.
More than likely, if I'm gonna guess, is he like good friends with both Euronymous and Varg? Does it seem?
Yeah.
That's more than likely Fenris from Dark Throne.
There's two guys there, right? And I mean, a lot of them look the same.
I know.
And you know what I mean? But he is a guy who said, like, I wonder what it feels like to like stab a person. And Euronymous is like, well, you should find out then. And then that guy lures a gay guy into
no
somewhere.
That I know what that is. That's fucking Emperor. That's the fucking drummer from Emperor who murdered somebody. Yeah.
Okay.
So this
he lures a gay guy into a park.
Yeah.
And stabs him.
So okay, I got something to say real quick. With this fucking movie, it's taking shit out of chronological order. That guy who got fucking stabbed, that guy who he's saying that from Emperor did that, Euronymous didn't encourage him. That guy just did that. So,
yeah, well,
I know
Euronymous didn't encourage him, but Euronymous, being his like edgy boy self, was very much like.
But I'm just saying that the fact with that happened like way before the church burnings happened.
Okay.
And that's what like escalated after the church. Like that's what kicked off the church burnings, was that murder, and then the murder of Varg getting fucked. I mean, yeah, not Varg, but Euronymous by Varg.
Right. Yeah.
Like it seemed like people just trying to outdo each other in this kind of crazy insanity shit.
Yeah, and it's the Black Circle is full of a bunch of them, and the Black Circle is like it's not necessarily everybody in Mayhem.
No.
It's just people who like quote unquote worship Satan.
Yeah,
and it's very cringe. Like, okay, there's a love interest who is not a real person. She was made up specifically for the film.
Yeah.
But she actually calls out Euronymous, and she goes, "So is this real, this whole Satanist thing?" And he goes, "Yeah, it's a way of life." And she goes, and he brings up like Venom and stuff like that. And she goes, what's his name from Venom said that was all a fucking like gimmick,
Kronos did. Because that's what he was being honest about, that he isn't a Satanist.
Right. And she calls Euronymous out. She's like, that's a gimmick, right? Like it's not real.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, it's real for me. And this character, she's made up, but she sort of influences Euronymous because towards the end of the movie, Euronymous starts to back away from that gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts to become more of like a PR marketing guy.
Yeah.
And he starts to like, while Varg is like burning down churches and Varg is getting crazier and more radical and things like that, Euronymous is sort of backing off. He's having this relationship with this girl and he's becoming more of like a marketing guy. Like, okay, like this shit isn't real, but how can I get publicity from it? How can we push Mayhem? Right? How can I push my record label?
Yeah.
Right. And there's a lot of shit like that. Now, look, Varg and Euronymous, like I said, neither of them come off in a good light. They both come off like posers.
Yeah.
They both come off like gimmicky little edgy boys, like, oh, praise Satan, I have no soul, like shit like that. You know what I mean?
Which they both kind of really were in real life.
Right. And I mean, most of them are.
Yeah.
But like, and that's all fine for your gimmick, right?
But when you
like
actually burn churches and kill people and do this stuff, it's a little...
Yeah, it gets a little out of hand. And like I said, Varg is like a crazy guy. So eventually what happens, what leads to the stabbing, and I'm sure we've talked about this, but Euronymous is pissed at Varg, and in passing, he says something along the lines of, I'd love to fucking tie that guy up, torture him to death, and make a snuff film out of it.
Yep, that's correct.
So word gets back to Varg.
And Varg takes it seriously, yeah.
Right, and this is actually after Varg actually like fucks up because he goes to the media, and he thinks he's able to like he wants them to know who did the church burnings, and the reporter is just outsmarts him instantly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With like a question, and like Varg answers it, not realizing what he's saying.
Yeah.
And the reporter calls him. He goes, "Look, the reporter's like, anybody can light some black candles and put up a Nazi flag and have some swords laying around and pretend to be creepy. But what proof do you actually have?" Right. But Varg outs himself. He's eventually like arrested.
Yep.
Euronymous was against this. He's like, "You'll fuck all of us, right? If you do this." But Varg doesn't listen.
Yeah.
So Varg, Euronymous and Varg like get together for like a chat, right?
Yeah.
And Varg basically tells him like, "Look, you're phony. You've always taken credit for the shit we've done. You've never had the balls to do it yourself." And Euronymous is like, "All right, dude, that's cool. Like go your own way. That's fine." He's like, you don't have to, you don't have to be part of the band. I set you free from the label and everything like that. Like, no worries, dude. Like, and Euronymous is sort of like a nice guy about it.
Yeah.
And then there's a little bit of tension. Word gets back to Varg about what Euronymous said about the snuff film, shit like that. And Varg kind of goes a little crazy, right?
By the way, the whole thing as well, what's also considered quote-unquote Varg's alibi of why he stabbed Euronymous like 26 times in the fucking head, is because he also owed him back payments from Burzum as well. So he doesn't like paying people.
Yeah. I was just about to get to that.
Yeah.
So Euronymous writes Varg this letter, which is a letter / contract.
Yeah.
Right. And the letter basically frees Varg from his label, from the label. It transfers funds over to Varg, so that he not only gets what his mother paid for the album, but he gets all the back payment that he is owed, plus everything that comes in after that. Right?
Okay.
And Euronymous basically says, "Look, you can go your own way. I hope we can still be friends." Euronymous is very cordial about it, right? So what's his name gets that letter. Varg gets that letter, and he basically thinks it's a
trap.
It's like a trap, right? And Euronymous says in the letter, you just have to sign this and send it back. He even sends him like the stamps, right? Like prepaid envelope. You just send it back. Boom, it's done. Varg gets this and he grabs one of his sidekicks. I don't know who it is, right?
Yeah, it's basically
And he says-
the guy is one of the people we'll be talking about next week. Actually, he is one of the guys from the band Thorns who basically drove Varg there. But
right.
Yeah, he was acquitted from that though because he was in the wrong place at the wrong time and did not know that Varg was gonna fucking do that.
Did not know Varg, and like the whole alibi was supposed to be that they were at home watching Die Hard 2. like that's what, like, Varg goes into a rental shop and he goes, "You seen this movie?" And the guy's like, "Yeah." And he goes, "All right, well, if anybody asks, we watched this tonight." And they drive out to Euronymous' apartment. Okay. Now in the movie, Euronymous is there with his girlfriend. Euronymous cuts his hair for the first time in the whole movie. She goes, "Are you ready?" And he goes, "Yeah." And while he's cutting his hair, he's having these hallucinations of dead, right? And there's like some things that happened earlier when they were in the forest and in the woods and shit like that. And then his girlfriend leaves. And Varg shows up and Varg goes, "Hey, I've got that contract for you, man." He goes, "Well," and Euronymous is a little skeptical. He's like, "Well, why didn't you send it? Why did you drive all the way out here? Like, it doesn't make any sense, right?" He goes, "Just let me in, man. I want to talk to you." And he's like, "Okay." So he lets him in, right? And they bring out the contracts, and like they're talking for a little bit. And Varg is like on edge. Varg is just fucking on edge. And Euronymous is like, "Look, man, like if you ever need help or anything like that, like we can be friends." He goes, "But you said you wanted to make a snuff film out of my death." And Euronymous is like, "You know me, man. I just fucking talk." You know what I mean? And Euronymous starts stabbing him.
Okay.
And he goes, "That's your problem, man. You just talk too much."
Oh, you mean Varg starts stabbing Euronymous?
Yeah. Varg starts stabbing Euronymous and goes, "That's your fucking problem, man. You just talk too much. You're always fucking talking." He's stabbing him while he's saying it, right? Now, Euronymous is like trying to get out of the door, but he can't because Varg has taken the keys to the door and locked it.
Yeah.
And so Euronymous actually remembers that his spare keys are in his jacket, in the closet next to the door. And while this is happening, Varg actually sits down and starts drinking some chocolate milk. Like he makes himself like a glass of chocolate milk, you know? And like the whole time, like, and he's able to drink, like he mixes it. It's like Ovaltine, right? He just like mixes it up and drinks it, and like then comes back over. And as Euronymous is like opening the door to like finally get out, he stabs him a bunch of more times in the back. Euronymous eventually makes it out the door because he's in like an apartment, right? Yeah. And he makes it out to the door and he starts banging on his neighbor's door, which is an old lady. Yeah. She opens the door and Varg just immediately kicks it shut and starts stabbing Euronymous again. Then he pushes Euronymous down the stairs, stabs him a bunch more times, and he's basically like talking shit to him. Yeah. You know what I mean? The whole fucking time. And Euronymous keeps going like, "Why, man? Like, why?" Right? And actually, the first couple times when they're back in Euronymous' apartment for the first couple stabbings, Euronymous is like trying to talk his way out of it. And he's like, "Look, man, you can just leave. I won't call nobody, dude. We can turn this into a publicity thing. Like, you tried to kill me. Like, how great would that be for record sales, you know, and shit like that." And Vargas just stabs him a bunch more times. Like, "That's your fucking problem, dude." And just keeps stabbing him. And then eventually Euronymous collapses on one of the stair landings, right? And Varg stabs him like
through the
10
head
more times in the back. And then, and then the last stab, he stabs him right in the fucking skull. Like right in like, it's a weird spot. It's not necessarily the temple or the top of the head. It's right in a really like, you know, dense part of the skull. Yeah. And he just stabs it right in there. And then he can't get it out, so he's got to put his boot on Euronymous' head and like pull it out and shit like that. And then he leaves and he gets into the car with the dude and like they drive off. And they're almost immediately arrested. Varg, like they show Varg like leaving like fingerprints and blood on the fucking stairwell when he leaves and shit like that. And then there's like this big like it ends with like a memorial, right? Like they're showing this like memorial at a wall, like you do when somebody's like killed in like a terrorist attack, you know. They leave like there's a picture of Varg and he's there, and like
you mean
the
Euronymous?
pictures sorry, Euronymous. And like the memorial they show has actual real pictures of Euronymous and Dead.
Yep.
So it's like a real memorial, and they've got it, and then like it sort of does like a brrrt, like that, and Euronymous, because Euronymous narrates through the whole thing, and Euronymous goes, "What the fuck is all this sappy shit? What is the fucking shit with my fucking death? I'm Euronymous. I created true Norwegian black metal.
Yeah, we'll enjoy
What
it
the
now.
fuck? What the fuck have you done lately?" And then that's the end of the movie. So it's like look, the movie doesn't paint anybody in a good light.
No.
It makes everybody look like little posers. Like their music is cool. Like I don't have a problem with like the Norwegian black metal scene, like when it came like to be and stuff like that. I don't have a problem
Yeah,
with
the
like,
music itself is interesting. I
mean,
agree.
dude, Varg is based. Like Varg is so based they kicked him off YouTube.
Yep. I mean, that's what happens when you go through Norwegian prison and basically realize you're a big fuck up for what you do.
Yeah. So so they're basically arrested. Varg goes to prison. It's not like the first time he was in prison because they got him for like the
church burnings, yeah.
But like I said, it doesn't put them in a good light. Any of them do not look like not just Euronymous or Varg, but like dead, like, and they say like Dead was bullied like really hard when he was a kid. And he didn't really like his life, and he was always like, but he's very edgy boy, and he like hangs cats from his fucking ceiling and shit like that. And he's fucking, I just can't. I can't with animal people like that, you know. Like the only one that actually comes off in a good light is Necro Butcher.
Yeah.
And because he like leaves, he's like, "Fuck you, I'm out," you know. And one of the now I'm gonna get this confused, but one of the people that actually comes in to replace Varg after he leaves Mayhem, right? The singer that they have. Now I don't know who replaced Varg. You would know, whoever came after Dead or Varg or whatever. That singer, the guy who plays him in the movie is his actual son.
Oh, okay.
So they have his actual son actually doing vocals for the band in a what we'll call it. So there's a lot of shit like that. There's a lot of edgy boy shit. And again, it's a controversial movie. It's highly contested. What really happened? And like I said, I think these guys don't like an accurate depiction of the way they come off, right? Because there's a difference between the way you see yourself and the way everybody else sees yourself, right? So you might think like, yeah, black metal, like I'm really cool, but on the outside you look like cringe poser boy, right? And like, I mean, Euronymous has a point. He sort of did help invent true Norwegian black metal.
Yes.
And he has that under his belt. And he was really good with marketing. He was really good with PR and advertisement and shit like that. He knew how to create like a word of mouth, right? Like, oh my God. Like, and if Varg wouldn't have been crazy in the movie.
I mean, he was in real life a little bit too. I mean, they're all
Euronymous like was right. Like if word got out that Varg tried to kill Euronymous and tried to, both bands would have sold so many fucking albums, right? But overall, it's a tough watch for a few reasons. One, the animal cruelty, which is not real, but it's animal cruelty. The cat that's hung, which is there for a long time until Dead dies. And even when Euronymous finds him, the cat is still hanging there. The cat looks super fucking real.
Yeah.
So I'm not down with that. There's like a dead fox in it, you know.
Oh, the person they got to replace him is none other than, I was thinking who it was. It's Attila. It's Attilia. That's who it is. He's a really good singer, and his son, yeah.
Yeah, I believe it's his son.
It is. It's
Yeah.
Aaron Attila's son. It's
Yeah, Varg is out of prison now. Well, that's because Dakota over in like the Norwegian areas is getting like I think like max sentences are like 15 years.
Yeah.
Like a life sentence is like what's his name? That mass shooter that shot up that whole island.
Yeah.
That guy's gonna be out of prison soon.
Yeah.
Like that guy, like max sentence you can get over there is like 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's considered a life sentence, quote unquote.
Yep.
So and I know they're not all the same areas. You have Sweden and Finland, all the different areas over there, Norway and all that shit. So that's kind of tough to watch.
Yeah.
The animal cruelty is a little tough to watch, like I said. The other thing that's tough to watch is Dead cutting himself.
Yeah.
And it's not that like it makes me squeamish, but the way Vice or whoever, the way the guy shoots it is like there'll be like these really close up shots.
Yeah.
Where all you could see is the knife and the flesh. And just him cutting. And it looks real, but not real.
Yeah.
But it's the way the movie is that makes it come off like right? And you just don't want to see it,
Yeah.
Or when he kills himself, like him cutting his wrists and cutting his throat. And the sad thing about that is that like he gets a call from his dad.
Yep. Which
like,
happened in real
right?
life. Yep.
Yeah, like he's writing a note. Like he's writing a note that says sorry about all the blood.
Excuse the blood.
Excuse all the blood. Yeah. And right as that's happening, he's listening to a voicemail from his father, who's telling him like, "Good news, you got into college." So Dead kills himself. The shotgun scene is weird. Like they play off Euronymous as in a very weird way. And like Dead like sends them like a fucking rat crucified to a stick. Now another thing that people had a problem is that they speak English in the movie, but apparently they spoke English for real.
Yeah.
Because Dead was from Sweden.
Yes, he is.
And they were from Norway, and neither of them spoke each other's language, but they all spoke English.
Yeah, because
so
they do in those
communicate through English.
Yeah.
So that's how they did it. But overall, if you're interested in like the history of this, because they did make a documentary about this, and it is on YouTube.
Yeah.
They did make a documentary about this whole thing. If you're interested in the whole like the history behind like the Black Circle and the church burnings that happened in Norway and the bands that like sort of created that kind of phenomenon and that kind of thing, it's probably a movie you could watch.
And there's also a certain somebody's mythos that may have talked about it as well.
Right. and you have to like, I'm just, after Dead goes away, there's no more animal cruelty.
Yeah.
But it is like the first 20 minutes. There is a lot of like, here's a dead fox. Here's a crucified rat. Here's some dead cats. Here's this, So that's a little hard to make it through.
Yeah.
But I give it a 3.8.
Oh, okay.
Rory Culkin is pretty good. Now I don't know much about Euronymous. So I mean, besides what I know from your stream,
yeah.
And I know a lot about Varg. I didn't like the guy who played Varg.
Yeah,
it just doesn't seem like the Varg from YouTube or like the Varg that. Nah, I'm not saying that that's not accurate.
Yeah, you have to remember he was in prison for a long time before he realized a lot of his views were wrong, like burning churches and everything else. He became more of a normalized person through prison systems. He does mention that fact too. Like he does also mention the fact that the National Socialist blackmail that basically came from his writings in prison too is like he said, I grew out of those beliefs. I don't believe in any of that shit anymore because I think it's dumb.
Yeah. So like and like good for him because if he really was like this, and again, I lean more towards this is highly accurate.
Yeah.
Than highly not.
Yeah.
I granted the filmmaker is sort of like his IMDb credentials.
Yeah, I know. Shit.
You just go on there and you're just like, holy fuck, dude. Like, what did you do? But Varg was on, Dakota. Varg was on YouTube He's not. I mean, you might find some videos from him. Somebody might have archived some of his shit, but he's not on anymore because he was so based that YouTube was like, bye.
Yep.
They kicked him the fuck off. But I give it a 3.8. I think if you're a fan, Gene, I think you would be interested to watch it because you know more about it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think you'd be interested to see like what you would think is factual and not and stuff like that. Like I said, Rory Culkin does a good job. The guy who plays Varg doesn't really do a good job. Jack Kilmer as Dead is really polarizing.
Yeah.
He does a good job playing Dead. But like the acting is good, but Dead doesn't have a lot of lyrics.
No.
Or I'm sorry, not a lot of lyrics. He doesn't have a lot of
lines.
Dialogue. Yeah, he doesn't have too much dialogue.
So that kind of fits with the person that was not butchered, but not tortured either. Bullied a lot.
Yeah, stuff like that. So yeah, I give it a 3.8 out of 5. Like I said, Rory Culkin. I'm a fan of the Culkins. Like I like what they do. Kieran and Rory and even Macaulay. I think they're good actors. And you always know it's a Culkin when you see it. They just have that fucking Irish face on them. They all look the fucking same. The girl is okay. The made up girl, the other people are sort of like in the background, you know what I mean? They don't really matter too much. It really is between Varg and Euronymous, and that is the main thing that goes on there. But unless you're interested in it, I don't think
it would be something
people would enjoy it. You know what I mean? So like Gene, I would recommend it to Gene. But to like outside of like the animal death, like I wouldn't recommend it to like somebody like Sweets, right?
Yeah.
Like obviously she doesn't want to see the animal death, but I don't know if Sweets would enjoy it just because she's not really into that kind of thing, I guess. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, Sweets. But yeah, 3.8 out of 5. That's Lords of Chaos. And I think the big takeaway is that they're all posers.
Yeah.
I think they're just all like if one thing is true about any of it, is like you're all edgy boy posers.
Yeah.
Like you could have just made your music and like used the gimmick like Venom, right? Because like I said, that bitch calls him on Venom.
Yeah.
She's like he already admitted that. That's all fucking. But Euronymous is young.
Yeah.
And when you're young, you're think
stupid.
that shit's cool. But and Euronymous is the only one with an arc.
Yeah.
He's the only one that starts off like that. And then by the end of the movie, by the time he's come out of that, Varg stabs him, 50 times. So it's too late for Euronymous.
Also, here's a big thing about Euronymous too that the movie probably doesn't mention. All the stuff that he would actually do when selling his records and all that stuff, you want to know where he actually put the money? We're not actually producing things. He would put it towards communistic shit in Europe.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Fucking douchebag.
Yeah, he a douchebag. I'm not saying he deserved to be stabbed to death.
No, I wouldn't say that.
And I think if Euronymous was still alive, I think the black metal scene would be a little different than it is today. But was it Necro Butcher who was saying he didn't really like it? Was that the interview you were
Yeah,
watching
that was the one where Necro Butcher said he would have probably killed Euronymous himself at some point. I think he just
Is he the one who also like had like the woman who is like, oh, it's great that we finally are allowed to have females in metal now?
No, that was from the guy of Celtic Frost.
Oh, okay. I was about to say like, okay, Necro Butcher. But there is a scene where like when Varg and Euronymous meet and they're like breaking up basically.
Yeah.
Varg goes to give him back the necklace with Dead's skull on it, you know, with pieces of his skull.
Yep.
And Euronymous goes, "You can keep that. It's just chicken bone."
Yep.
And Varg goes, "Oh, it's fake, just like you," and like walks away. Varg got a little radical.
Yeah.
Euronymous didn't help anything.
No.
This is what happens when like edgy boys get together.
Yeah, pretty much.
Music, and there's actually not a lot of metal music.
Ugh.
There is not a lot of metal music in it. So when I was watching like an interview with the director, and he said the reason he didn't put a lot of metal music in, like black metal music in it, is because he said if you're if you're not used to it, it's a little jarring to hear. It's a little bit of a chore to listen to. And he wanted other people who just wanted to know the story to be able to, so you don't get a lot of black metal music when they're practicing or when they're having a show or practicing or when they're like recording an album, which is few and far between. They show some of that. You will hear their music. But other than that, it's just a normal like movie soundtrack, basically.
Yeah.
So not a lot of black metal in it. But yeah, I've rambled on enough about Lords of Chaos. Like I would recommend this movie to like you or like Snake, right? Like Snake was the one who, I mean, a long time ago, Snake showed me the documentary about Euronymous and Vard.
Yeah.
So I've known about this for like years.
Yeah.
Right. Because Snake is really heavy into black metal and death metal. I mean, just music in general, but death metal and black metal.
Yeah, I mean, death metal is black metal is a pretty decent genre. Just in general, to see like the extremities of how much metal went from like heavy metal to black metal, and how even more extreme it goes to like stuff with death metal too, and those grindcores and all that shit.
Sure, deathcore and all that shit. Yeah. But yeah, that's Lords of Chaos. But I think we are going to
come to the end of the stream.
Yeah, that's the end of the stream, folks. We appreciate everybody showing up tonight for a behind the lot / a little bit because the two movies we reviewed aren't really action movies, but we got them out of the way. We like to do reviews here or there. Nothing too rigid, especially for a behind the lot.
Yeah, for an impromptu show, so nothing's really set in stone usually for those.
Yeah. So yeah, it's the end, Dakota. Midnight is usually the cutoff point for us.
Got a little shilling to do. I have.
Yes, go ahead. Do your shilling.
Yep. So first off, I'm going to say that Sweets and Sour will be doing a stream tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And why don't you go ahead?
Okay, Sweets and Sour will be doing a Sweet and Sour hour at 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Oh, you mean me?
Yes, I said you. I said you. Why don't you go ahead? Why don't you go ahead with what you have?
Guys, Ether tomorrow at 9. It will be back over on
his channel.
I think it will. I haven't checked to make sure that it's up yet. So I'll check tomorrow, but it should be back over on my channel, guys. I haven't hold on. I have the link
to your channel. Yeah, go ahead and post
it. Here is the link to my channel, everybody. It should be over there tomorrow. January 14th was the day that I was supposed to get my channel back after that faggot Mr. Nightmare struck me.
How funny when you get your channel back, I seem to lose mine.
Lose yours, right? Yeah, exactly. So that's it's just going to be another clip show. I don't have after I get like into the thing, like eventually I will start doing true crime. I know I've said that a while, but eventually I'll start talking about like true crime or some like weird events. There are some like weird like riots I want to talk about. I want to talk about like the high incident bandits who were some bank robbers. Because we get to watch the live footage of them shooting their way out of a bank, which is fucking awesome. So the balls on these guys, dude. But tomorrow will just be a clip show. Now, some of the videos that we didn't get to watch last time will be. I have them. I already had them saved, so they're in my playlist. Tomorrow, I will ask for people for videos. We'll go through our playlist, and then videos that are in the vids for streams, I'll go through them and I'll pick, what I can. I can't watch everything.
No, of course not.
I don't want to necessarily take the chance because of just getting my channel back, and I don't like risking it over on Heretic Network. But
you mean Heretic? Yeah, I thought you meant something else. I'm wrong. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's the way the cookie crumbles. Yeah. So. Best show, thanks, Dakota.
Also on Sunday, me and Weeb will be doing a Chaos Corners on my secondary channel, which you guys have seen already this week with Steve Skinner. An old joke there, which I know some of you may or may not get. But me and Weeb will be doing a Chaos Corners about Malal, the god of non-existence in the 40k universe. But he actually started in the fantasy universe.
What is Principal Skinner's first name?
Seymour.
Okay, Seymour. I knew there was an S in there. I was like, are you Principal Skinner?
Why, certainly.
Seymour Skinner, that's right. Is it me who is out of touch?
Is it me who is out of touch?
All right, guys. Thanks everybody for coming out tonight. Gene, I only have half a day tomorrow, so I figure maybe we'll jump into the VC for a little bit.
Sure, that sounds good.
If anybody wants to come in chat with us, we'll be in the VC in the Heretic Discord.
Yep,
so
we'll see you guys there if you're willing to talk.
All right, guys. Thanks everybody for coming out. Everybody have a good night.
Good night, everyone. Peace.
Good night.